North-South Connection and Wrestling Warzone patrons, welcome into Wrestling Warzone, a Monday Night Wars podcast retrospective series. I am JT, and joining me as Emma is my partner, Chad. Chad, how you doing tonight, buddy?
Doing good. How you get in there? And a big night in the Warzone ahead of us.
Hiding between the hedges as always. We are.
They are back. Hey, I'm all in.
We're all in.
All in, baby.
All right. I'm ready.
Asshole Texas. The natty run starts now.
I got a root for Indiana for future Jets legend Fernando Mendoza.
You don't want him. I don't think you want him.
No, Ty Simpson's the guy most people are on.
I don't think you want him either.
That's all there is. Who else is there? More?
You don't want a quarterback this year.
Well, they're gonna take one,
which is unfortunate in your situation. But yeah, no.
Those are the two everyone's talking about.
Well, yeah, but I don't think either one of those.
They could do a bridge and try for 27, but that's risky. It's like every year's this is the year, and then there's no one.
You look at. I was actually doing that today because I'm starting my Gunnar Stockton for Heisman campaign, and you look at the recruiting prospects from 2021 to 2023, and it's bad. I actually think you do want to wait for next year because I think the guy from Ohio State, Julian Sayed, I think that's who you want. That's your blue chipper.
What about Rocky Maivia? I've been seeing his name catching buzz.
Jaden Maivia, he was supposed. So I got heat with him because there was rumors he was going to Georgia. Then he flipped and went to USC. It wouldn't have mattered anyway. But yeah, he's doing well too. I actually think he's looking good.
He could be the guy that rises as you get closer, you know?
I think so. I know it's, of course, it's college and it's one game, but Mendoza really came out of nowhere. It's kind of, I don't know. And they hadn't really played. They played Oregon, but besides Oregon, they haven't played nobody.
It's so tough because, you get that big of a draft pick and you want him to be I was legendary, but like elite. But it's their quarterback play has been so bad that even if they got a guy that was a Goff type that's just doesn't fucking suck and can just get the ball consistently to people and have good timing and good completion percent, like a Pennington was, that would elevate them so much because of what it's been. So I don't know what. I mean, again, you can risk in a way. They may. I mean, they got all these draft picks, so they could.
It's tough to know. It's always tough to know because, obviously, Drake May was a good prospect and he was drafted high, but he's playing better now than he's ever played in his life. So who knows? Right.
Well, we'll see. We got time. We'll see how it changes. A lot will change.
Yeah, well, I'm sure no matter who they draft, you'll be all in until 2026 till they trade him away for a 4th-round pick. But yeah,
I'm in on Sin. They got to make this one count. This is it. They got all the assets, everything.
Same with the Falcons. Penix.
Yeah, probably not.
2 bad D's, so he's done. I guess they should have drafted. He got drafted before Bo Nix.
Yeah, I feel like Nix is one of those guys. If he goes anywhere else, it doesn't. It's like
he's tough. He's gonna be slinging it. He was like that, but he has that moxie that.
I know, but that can go real wrong if you're in the wrong spot.
It can, but that goes too though. That's the whole thing. I never in a million years would have drafted JJ McCarthy. Some of this stuff I just don't understand.
Awful.
I understand everybody's gonna be wrong, but this is where I get this disconnect between college and NFL. You know my stance on some of those rants, but I just think you could have watched any college for any time and known I just don't think JJ McCarthy's gonna be.
There's a reason they had him throwing 10 passes a game. It's
he was a good game manager quarterback on a great team surrounding him.
It's a real indictment to have had him for a year in your building and still pick him over Darnold and Daniel Jones. It's they should have kept Darnold. I know he imploded in that one game, but it's he had such a big sample size in that offense. It's what are you doing, you know?
Yeah. Now they're paying for it, but yeah. So all right. Well, our teams may be the 2 worst in the NFL. So
and they're playing in 2 weeks.
Yeah, no, that's
big draft implication.
I can't. I don't know. The Falcons have to clean house. There's
Morris is on. I wouldn't mind him as a D coordinator.
Oh, the GM too. No, he's got to go too.
Yeah, they got to clean house. All right. Well, we don't have to clean house. We got a good thing going here in the Wrestling War Zone. This podcast is simulcast audio on all, not all, I guess Spotify or clowns, but on most podcast applications, and then video on YouTube. And also, as you can see on the screen here, we have a free Patreon, patreon.com/Wrestling War Zone. The biggest perk is you can watch us live, record, and comment as we go. And we'll read your comments. We got Grooney, we got Everett here. So Ish for a few minutes as we're getting rolling. So you get that. You get some Chad content on and off. I know he's been watching like every movie from 1995. So there's going to be something coming on the Patreon soon. I think some kind of movie breakdown. So keep your eyes open for that.
Yeah. Should be able to roll that out. That'll probably end up. I'll probably negotiate with Mr. Gray to put that on the Big Boy YouTube. But there.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah. Thank you, Rudy. A holdover from last episode. He meant trajectory. To the projectile.
He's been using so much brain power the last 2 weeks to hold that comment in. It's like 85% of his brain power.
At least this week we don't have the pile driver heard around the world or whatever that we got reminded of 5 times last episode. I do have a 10-point scale for movies, of course.
You know Absolutely. He's got it for food, for movies, for sport, everything. That Chick-fil-A was an 8.6 on the 10-point scale. Yeah. All right, we got a big night ahead. Let's get to it because we got a lot to cover. Yeah. It's a monumental night in the Monday Night War history. It's August 4th, 1997. It is the 100th episode of Nitro, 3-hour special with Lex Luger versus Hulk Hogan. But we're going to start on Raw, which is the night after SummerSlam, which is a really big deal as well there. Because we have one real big thing that happens for sure, and then some other stuff that's important as well. So why don't we get to it? We get our opening animation. We head inside Bethlehem, Pennsylvania. So we're still kind of running these wonky towns. We don't really elevate back up to like 98. Like a lot of these 97 Raws still remain, and I think they just booked out for the year. So like we're still in a lot of interesting little places here.
This felt like a throwback. It's never a great sight when you could see the big American flag like stapled to the wall of the building, but
yeah, we have.
And this I think had the. I mean, this has the unfortunate. Like it is actually. It's weird how the pay-per-views are kind of the contrast of this, where we talked about it, where WCW runs like smaller arenas for pay-per-views, like Bash at the Beach at the Daytona Civic Center or whatever the hell that was, and like the Convention Center, right? And WWF like. SummerSlam and the Meadowlands and all that. And here, you're Bethlehem versus a packed Joe Louis Arena, right?
Palace. Yeah, no, they're at the Palace.
Oh, yeah, right. They're at the Palace. They go there. Yeah. So
even like in your house in December is in Springfield. Like that's a pretty small place too. Like, but we do get some bigger arenas. We got Louisville. Although isn't that small to Louisville Gardens? I don't think that's very, very big either for September.
I would say Louisville Gardens is an adequate like basketball size arena.
Is that like is it bigger than like the Dunk?
Yeah, probably comparably
around there. Yeah. And then you got St. Louis, which is obviously big. We got Montreal. So they get in there. Raws, once we get into 98, they start to kind of get back into the bigger buildings, but we're definitely gonna have some interesting Raw locations here. So we're in Bethlehem. The arena's jammed. So there's no room at the inn in Bethlehem. The arena's jammed. The pyro's blasting. Signs are waving. Vince welcomes us in. And the Hart Foundation's out immediately. Brett's toting his brand new WWF Championship on his shoulder. Ross meets him in the ring and says, last night saw one of the most controversial title matches of all time. Brett did whatever he could to provoke the special referee, Shawn Michaels. He spit in his face, leading to Shawn retaliating by swinging a chair that crushed The Undertaker, and that allowed Brett to win his 5th title. We get some stills as Ross is recapping. Ross says that Brett's international fans are proud, but the fans here in Pennsylvania are not proud as Bret Hart is champion. Brett says it can make you smile, and they say you're supposed to suffer for your crimes, but if you're not suffering, maybe it's not a crime. He went in last night and proved he's the best and did it against all the odds. The man from the dark side, a referee that's against him the whole way through, and favored the other guy the whole match, and he stuck to the letter of the word of his agreement. And from what he can see so far, WWF is not sticking to theirs. Because if Michael showed any favoritism, he's not supposed to wrestle in the U.S. again. And yet he favored Taker the entire match. And the only reason he's standing as champion is because he's smarter than both Americans, whether they like it or not. The audio, one of Chad's favorites, the audio gets a little fucked up here. We get a technical difficulties crawl letting us know. Brett says he wants Shawn out of the WWF, out of American wrestling, and the company owes it to him to stand by their word. Ross says Bret will defend his title against the Patriot at Ground Zero, the man who beat Bret Hart last week. Bret said last week was a fluke. Patriot only won because Michaels interfered, and everyone knows it. Patriot means nothing to him. He talks about American values and morals, but he's out here with Austin and Michaels. And British Bulldog, he means something to me. He went in gallantly against Ken Shamrock, who showed no discipline, made a mockery of himself, and a class act like the Bulldog. Under no circumstances will Shamrock get another European title shot. Brian Pillman, the Hart Foundation don't wear dresses, and he ain't going to do it because there's a new boss, a new sheriff, and that's him. Pillman has too much class to lower himself to that level. And for Owen, what happened to him is nothing but another classic example of American justice. Owen says Bret can't even imagine his rage and anger. He did a stupid thing and showed brief compassion for Austin, and he ended up beating himself. He made Austin a crippled freak. He's paralyzed in the hospital somewhere in New Jersey, and I ended his career last night. Austin may have stolen the belt, but he'll never wrestle again. And the only reason he even won is because he had compassion. But the only thing right to do now is Austin will come out and forfeit the title, or Owen can kick his ass because he's a crippled freak and won't wrestle anymore. Ross cuts in. He says he's sure these words have been heard by our new commissioner. And we waste no time bringing out the man himself, Sergeant Slaughter, as commissioner. Sarge is out to a nice cheer. Vince is hyped to see him. We find out the Gorilla Monsoon has given Sarge full authority. Sarge says he wants to let Bret know a little secret. Bret's not the new sheriff in town. I am. And that gets a big pop. Sarge says he makes the rules, not the hitman. And his first decision is that Bret will defend his title at Ground Zero against the Patriot. So I don't know if Ross front run that, like if he was supposed to say it when he did, because then Sarge makes it like he's making the announcement. Bret says, who did Patriot ever beat to earn a title shot? And Sarge just says, you. Sarge says Bulldog will have another match with Shamrock soon, and that's in order. He tells Pillman that he'll live up to his agreement, and he will wear a dress here tonight, or he'll be suspended. Pillman freaks out. The crowd's into it. Sarge says Owen will get a rematch with Austin when the doctors give approval and when Stone Cold says so. The glass breaks, and Austin is here to a big pop. He stands on the ramp. He's holding a neck brace in his hand. Vince says Austin left the hospital at 4 a.m. on his own. He's not supposed to be here. Austin says Stone Cold says so right now, and he doesn't need doctor approval. He's not going to wear a neck brace, and the fact that Owen dumped him on his head last night doesn't mean a thing. Owen was too stupid to cover him when he had the chance, and he's a loser because it runs through his veins, and he was given to him by his mom and dad. Tonight, he would truly will open a can of whoop ass and show him that Austin 316 really means. And that's that. So that's a pretty good opening segment. We got a lot done, and it flowed pretty smoothly. We got the high notes. We got out. We established the Harts as the kings of the company. Slaughter shows some authority, kind of standing up to Bret and telling him, no, you're not in charge. I am. And then I thought the Austin appearance was a pretty big surprise. Like, I think after leaving SummerSlam where he can't even move, to him come out with and talk like he's still going to fight and he's still going to be around. Like, I think it's a pretty big shock. I thought they did a pretty good job covering for the accident and leaning into it versus ignoring it, which I think is a good play. We'll see how much of this as we move forward is like bait and switch with Austin and how much they're learning on the fly, because obviously they do promote him for things that don't happen as we move along. But we'll see if they really thought like they dodged a bullet and maybe he could wrestle, or are they in the know that he's going to be out for a bit, but they want to keep playing like they're not sure. So we'll see, but that's a pretty good segment. I think Slaughter's as good a choice as anyone. It leans into 92 when he was the troubleshooting ref. Like that was a past job of his. So I think like if you're going to have this role, he's at least someone that has credibility. He's still young enough where he looks believable. If he like got to a fight with someone, like Gorilla is like old, like he's not going to fight anyone. But at least with Slaughter, it's like you can see him getting physical if you need to. So I think he's a decent choice for the role.
Yeah, I thought he was a good choice for the role. The promo was fine. It's just, I don't know. This is probably like the 5th or the 6th week in a row we started with the Hart Foundation, so I'm getting a little tired of the kind of predictability on that end. And they don't say a lot. I mean, I think as neat as it was to see Austin back, I didn't remember he came back either this night, so that was a surprise to me. And without like a neck brace or anything, so that was I thought was a nice surprise, but I do think you're already seeing, I know it's kind of like a bridge, and we do got some interesting stuff going on with like Shawn and Taker on the other end, so that could be your main event. But to kind of go from where we've been at with Bret feuds throughout the year to now he's facing the Patriot did feel like kind of your your first challenger after someone wins the belt. Like it's definitely like a C-level opponent. So there was that, but I mean overall it was fine. They kind of hit all the high points from SummerSlam if you did watch the show, and then progressed to the next section of the feuds and kicked off too.
Yeah, they've at least tried to make Patriot like presented strong out of the gate. Like they have put him at that level, even though name value is not quite there. But I also think they know they got Michaels and Taker lined up to headline the show, so they could kind of get away with Brett not having like a major challenger at the show. So it's as good a time as any to do it.
Yeah, it feels like they could have went with like somebody like Shamrock, but yeah, Patriot's fine, I
guess. Grooney says Michaels or Slaughter better commissioner. Well, we haven't gotten to Michaels yet, but probably Slaughter, honestly. He does more. Sleaze is here. This is his first wrestling memories from this week, so that's cool. I feel like you say that every week, Marty, but we'll pretend it's this one for this week. And then Ryan says Gorilla let up Vader with those chops. So yes, he did get physical when he needed to, but not as believable as Sarge. All right, we get some fan reactions about the main event after SummerSlam. They all call Michaels out for costing the Undertaker. The Nation of Domination joins her backstage. Vince says at Ground Zero there'll be a triple threat match, and it is straight from your nightmares. It is Farouk, Savio Vega, and Crush. Farouk says last night they showed up just one on purpose to let the WWF know that they mean business and they're here to stay. He's a product of the streets. He is that man, and he will teach a lesson at Ground Zero, just like tonight when Kama and Ahmed Johnson take care of their business. Any thoughts on that one?
No, that's what it was.
You excited for that Ground Zero triple threat?
Of course. Can't wait.
All right.
Please, no. Please.
No. All right, to the ring we go. Ken Shamrock taking on Kama Mustafa. Shamrock stalks to the ring, does not look happy. We get clips from last night where he destroyed the agents and officials after his match. Kama's got the Nation with him. Ross gives us combat fighting background. All four nations step to Shamrock, but right away Sarge is out, and he throws out the rest of the Nation. So this is good. Like he's very active on this site. We'll talk about it, and they're doing that to show, all right, the lawlessness that we've kind of had for a while, where Gorilla's kind of been in and out, like it's over. Like Sarge is going to be hands-on involved. So right away he's out. He throws the Nation out. Vince talks about Austin's injury, his defiance by showing up tonight. We get some early feeling out into a flurry of Shamrock jabs. Kama lands some punches, misses a charge to the corner. Ken peppers some kicks, right hands. Kama comes back with some kicks, runs Ken to the corner, slams him down. Kama drops an elbow for two, lands a kick to the back of the head, slings him to the floor. Shamrock throws Kama into the post, rolls inside, but Miguel and Jesus sneak down to ringside, hit a double suplex on Kama on the floor, and shove him in the ring. Shamrock gets a belly-to-belly and gets the win. I just had some potential, but they were definitely off on their timing. And then you get the quick ending that's focused more on the gang wars versus kind of letting the match play out on its own. So Shamrock gets a win off of SummerSlam to get back on track, but they didn't really get cooking beyond that. And it's just pushing again. The Barik was getting one over on the Nation. So star and a quarter for me on that one.
Yeah, I'll only with a star. There's a lot of these matches on this Raw that are about 2 to 3 minutes and don't have much substance. And it's more about what's going on either at the end or, something else ancillary from the match itself. And this was one of them. I mean, this was kind of a nothing match. It was really just about the Barikas interfering.
All right. We get another Brockus vignette. My name is Brockus.
Now, he said something about Hurst Hemsley here? I thought.
Is it just saying random names of people? I guess
I didn't understand this, and I didn't really care enough to rewind it. But I was like, "What was he talking about?" But
I think he's just naming random people that he's going to come out.
Weird call out.
Future ECW star Brockus. All right, back to the ring. As Taka Michinoku is here to take on Brian Christopher, we get Sunny out in her sundress to do ring announcements. Ross hypes up upcoming weekend events in Miami, West Palm Beach, Montgomery, and next week's Raw in Biloxi, Mississippi. Taka is out quickly, followed by Christopher. Ross calls him the King's baby boy and keeps pressing. King keeps denying. King gets horny for Sunny. King says Taka weighs 201 pounds and takes pills bigger than him. And then right away into the racist jokes. Christopher clubs Taka off the bell, lands a clothesline. Taka avoids a hip toss. Christopher gets a nice throw. He's cackling as he does some karate motions. Christopher slings Taka to the corner, tries a German, but Taka lands on his feet, snaps off a belly-to-belly, spin heel kick, tries a Rana. Christopher counters into a powerbomb. Vince talks about Taka's matches with Sasuke as Ross keeps on about King's son. Christopher hits a rocker dropper, misses a charge, flies to the floor. Taka meets him with a big springboard plancha. Ross comments about Air Force One being the current #1 movie in the country. Christopher is able to crotch Taka on the top rope from the apron, catches Taka on a body press, takes a backbreaker and a drop kick off the middle rope, hits 2 suplexes, tries a third, but Taka cradles the legs and steals the win. King argues with the ref after the bell. Christopher attacks Taka, flips him over to the floor with a slingshot, which is a cool little spot. This match had some zip to it. This is probably Christopher's one of his better outings since he's debuted. Taka did his job, hit his spots, and got out. And a pretty good TV match. It keeps that lightweight division rolling along. And you feel better about it with this match and some of the other stuff we've seen with the Fantastics and some other guys they rolled out here. This at least feels like, okay, a couple of young dudes that can move. So I went 2.5 on the match. And at least gives you a little bit more hope than what we've seen.
Yeah, I went 2.5 too. I actually thought this was a step in the right direction for this real aimless light heavyweight division we've seen. First off, Sunny, I think this may be her peak on like sex appeal and attractiveness. I mean, she was getting a great reaction when she went out there, so she's really over at this.
I still
point.
think they missed the calling by not making her a commentator. I think that should have been her role because you don't have to worry about face or heel. She can look hot and she's smart. She knows how to talk. She understands wrestling really well. Like, I think that was her calling, and they whiffed on it here during this run.
Right. Match itself, I thought was good. I liked the jabs at Keeg on commentary from Ross, needling him about Christopher, and Christopher looked good. He was able to hang with Taka. Taka hit his high spots, and overall, I thought this was a good kind of mixture of like, some Japanese junior, high flying action that Michinoku brought to the table, and then some like Southern, like heavyweight Southern title type action you'd see in Memphis that Christopher was able to blend. It was something that really Memphis utilized a lot. Like, honestly, I'm watching 1987 now, and Pat Tanaka and Paul Diamond are actually just starting to team up, and you see that a lot when. Like, this kind of reminded me of Jeff Jarrett versus Pat Tanaka matches that you saw in 87 Memphis. So I enjoyed it for what it was, 2.5.
Everyone wants Air Force One with Gorilla as the president. Okay. Backstage, Sarge is banging on Pillman's locker room door. This actually popped me. Pillman opens the door, and Sarge goes, "Put it on, put this on," and he walks away. His hands with the fucking dress. So put this on. Pillman says he's not doing it. And then he knows Sarge likes to get his jollies pushing his privates around the barracks, but he won't push his privates anywhere here. Sarge says Pillman will put the dress on and he'll wear it every week on Raw until he wins a match or he will be suspended. So Sarge still making moves. And the put it on and shoving the dress in his face definitely made me laugh. Vince hypes up Ground Zero, presented by Stridex. And then to the ring we go. It's Hunter Hearst Helmsley, Brock's #1 target, takes on Vader. Hunter and China head to the ring. We get comments from Paul Bearer, says he's forgotten more about the business than China will ever know. And he's also more of a man than she'll ever be. Vader and Bearer lumber out next. Vince reminds us this match was slated for last week, but Mankind attacked and cut it off. Hunter attacks at the bell. Vader comes right back with a body block, clubs in the corner. Ross puts over 100 performance last night as Vader chokes away. Hunter rallies with a clothesline, hammers in the corner. Bearer trips Hunter. China runs over and knocks him over with a drop kick, which is a great spot because Bearer smacks his head off the railing on the way down. So it looked pretty violent. Vader and Hunter end up outside, and they brawl to a double count out. So again, another match that had some pep, but then ends abruptly. And we're creeping to like not giving TV matches time. Like, this is something you always hear about in this era, and it looks like maybe we're on the doorstep of that now because they're trying to squeeze more and more into these things. So I thought Vader looked pretty good, and China was awesome, like she's been all along. So I want to star in 3/4. The highlight was definitely that China drop kick to Bearer.
Yeah. I went a star and a half. I agree. It was good. It was too brief, which was unfortunate. And yeah, I didn't quite understand Bear's pre-match promo. The drop kick looked good, but yeah, I mean, like you said, just not a lot that happened before the finish happened. So there you go. Like, could have been something, but wasn't given enough time to.
Everett said Russo and McMahon pushing Sable over Sonny never made sense, unless Sonny was just such a big headache backstage. Grudy said, "Would Sonny have taken bumps? She took plenty of bumps, Grudy, I can promise. Maybe not the kind you're asking about, but yeah, I don't know. Like, they never really put her in physical action, so I'm not sure what that was about. Like, why they didn't try, really. Yeah, I just think I'm fine with her not being a manager or whatever. Like, I think that ran its course. Like I said, I think just being an announcer or a commentator would have been good because you have her on the whole show looking hot. And again, she knows what she's doing and talking about. Like, she's very sharp wrestling mind. So, like, I think that would have been a really good role for her, I think. But she's getting close to the self-destruct. I mean, like, the click stuff is hot and heavy, or if it's not already kind of passed with her and Shawn. The drug stuff is starting to creep in soon. So, like, this is we're toward the end of her kind of having any kind of relevancy. And she's not done much. Like, you think of her as such a early forebearer of the women's rebirth, but she really did not. She had like a year and a half and barely did much at all. Like, she was showcased a lot in that summer of '96. Like, that was kind of her peak, where she bounced around from the tag team. She was on Raw a lot with the Guns, and then with Farouk's debut. And then once, like, the Nation started and the Guns broke up, like, that was it. They definitely, I don't think, got like enough juice out of her that they could have.
Yeah, I would say from being a manager, like, emphasis standpoint, China's already been much more of a factor than Sonny ever was as a manager.
So. Yeah, agreed. All right, Ross hypes the Superstar line for an update on the WWF recruiting international light heavyweight wrestlers and no holds barred fighters, as well as a Hart Foundation celebration. Back to the ring we go. As the Patriots taking on the Sultan. Him and the Sheik still hanging around. I can believe the Sultan still being here, but like Sheik still being around is like really surprising.
I actually had to consult cage match for this, so we had seen the Sultan in 4 months. And you could tell, like, just with the way he looked, like with his hair all discombobulated and everything, it really felt like one of those, like, he got the call that morning. It was like, come to TV, and he had to dig through his closet to find the gear and come back out at. But
yeah, it's definitely it's shocking that they're still going for sure. All right, so Sultan's out. We get a promotional consideration for Raws by the movie Money Talks. And then we get some pretty fired up comments about the Hitman from Patriot backstage. He says he heard the Sultan is undefeated. Like, I don't know, like, he clearly lost at WrestleMania.
Literally, so this also made me go to cage match. So he lost at WrestleMania. He lost his last appearance on Raw by DQ, but that's defeated. So he's 0-2 in his last 2 televised matches. So I don't know what he was talking about.
Right. But even if you don't count it, maybe if he even meant like he's never been pinned
or whatever.
He pinned him.
Yeah. So either way, idiot.
Bad info out of the Patriot. He was fired up. Like, I like the energy. He's the info.
I love the accent.
I'll tour you this. Patriot hits the ring to a pop, waving the American flag, steps to Sultan, who waves the Iranian flag, nails Patriot with it. Sultan gets a tight back suplex, follows with a clothesline. Patriot comes slugging back, decks Sultan with a forearm. Patriot slams Sultan, hammers on him in the corner. King quotes Samuel Johnson about patriotism. Sultan misses a charge to the corner. Patriot follows a shoulder block off the top and finishes with one of my favorite. They don't call it this year. It will be soon. The Uncle Slam. A very inspired name. We see the Hart Foundation has been watching from the ramp. They stalk to the ring after the bell, but Slaughter's out, and he stands between, as Brett's walking, he steps behind Brett and blocks Bulldog and Owen. So Brett doesn't realize he's alone. And then he kind of turns and he realizes no one's with him. And that allows Patriot to clobber him from behind. That leads to a big brawler on ringside until agents break it up. Brett argues with Slaughter, and Patriot waves the flag as we fade out. So another express line match. Patriot gets a win, momentum for Ground Zero. Sultan was whatever. Post-match, I thought it was pretty good heat for Brett and Patriot. So I'm going to 1.5 stars. And I think when you look at how they did this, I think it definitely lends credence to the fact that it was like a last-minute call to Sultan, because they probably were thinking, all right, what foreign guys can we have come out with a flag to like deal with Patriot, and they were like, oh, let's have Sultan, because I guess sometimes Sheik had the Iranian flag, but it wasn't like a big part of the act. So I feel like, they had it out because they're like, all right, what other flag guys can we have come out here to fight these dudes?
Yeah, start a half really just to give Patriot a win. The Uncle Slam's, I guess, a good finisher name, but as a finisher, it's a pretty weak finisher. But the brawl afterwards, I thought was good between him and Brett.
They call it something else here. I think the Stars and Stripes, something like that. But yeah,
Yeah, it's just a week. It's basically like a full Nelson and it does slam. It's a bad.
Yeah, in a couple of weeks, it gets renamed to the Uncle Slam, and of course, he's got the Kurt Angle music.
It feels very like an '80s like development.
Oh, yeah. Well, he's very 80s
territorial. Yeah, I mean, he does feel like he's straight out of like Continental Wrestling in 1986. So yeah.
All right, we got our hour 2 opening animation. Pyro Ross welcomes us in, reminds us we have another full hour, and this is of course the first week Raw is in the new slot, the 9 to 11. So Vince is in the ring, and here we go. Brings out Shawn Michaels to a pretty loud chorus of boos mixed with some cheers. Michaels strips down, dances around, plays to the crowd. Vince notes the cheers and boos and says whether he did his job or not, without Shawn, Undertaker could still be champion. Shawn says to get things straight, Vince McMahon, Undertaker, Bret Hart, and from what he can tell, the World Wrestling Federation fans are all dumping this in his lap. Shawn tells Vince to shut up and says it's just like Vince and Bret and everyone else to not take responsibility for themselves and pass the buck to old HBK because everyone knows he doesn't give a damn what anyone thinks about him. Shawn again cuts off Vince and says, shut up. He says he went out last night as a referee for the first time ever and did one hell of a job calling it down the middle. Vince confirms that and asks Shawn if he's any way in cahoots with Bret Hart, as people like young me and 16-year-old me was wondering based on internet rumors if they're working together. Shawn says he always knew Vince was a Nimrod, but now he's convinced he's the dumbest son of a bitch that has ever met in his life. Vince chuckles and says he doesn't appreciate that. And Shawn wiggles his fingers and says, excuse me while I shudder in my loafers. Vince says Shawn may be shuddering on September 7th as he takes on The Undertaker at Ground Zero. Vince leaves and Shawn says, get out of my ring. Shawn says he's not in any way in cahoots with Hart. And it's no secret Bret doesn't like him or respect him, but he needs me because he's the only man in the WWF that has ever beat his ass. And that's the truth. And for as long as they've been here together, he and The Undertaker, they've never crossed paths until now. We get a loud Michael sucks chant. Shawn says he lays down for absolutely nobody, not Bret Hart, not The Undertaker, and not the fans or anybody else. The fans are all over him. And he says for 10 years, he's giving them everything. And this is how they treat him. They can go to hell. The next time Taker sees Shawn, his super kick will be 1 foot down his throat. The gong hits. Shawn starts peacocking. Taker comes out in the dark. Ross thinks Shawn left, but as the lights come on, Vince is in the ring and Shawn's gone. Vince's mic doesn't work, so he gets that sorted. Taker says he isn't coming out to talk about how mad or bad he is because he's been doing way too much talking lately. He's got to get back to doing what he does best, taking souls and making people rest in peace. Taker says Shawn will have to look him in the eye and pay for his crimes, and he will rest in peace. Bearer shows up on the Titantron. He says Undertaker's the real criminal and a murderer, and that he's the one who killed his parents, and now it looks like he's lost a little weight. Taker can call him names and make fun of the fat man, but he was with Kane last night, and he's ready to come, and he's waited 20 years, and he's coming soon. Taker leaves, and the lighting all turns red, and that's that. This is a long-awaited, much-needed promo for Shawn Michaels, who's now once again a heel officially for the first time in over 2 years. He's now the number one target of The Undertaker. A big shot in the arm. And it's a big injection to the roster to have a healthy, engaged, red-hot heel Shawn Michaels put into this all of a sudden. That's a pretty big signing, Undertaker's part was whatever. And it kind of shows he's got multiple things to deal with. But I thought this was great by Michaels. You could tell it's been building for him for a while, to want to get into this and get this out and turn. And I think he nails it. I loved him telling Vince to shut up. I thought that was well done, and this is better and more to come from him. We know that, but I thought this is a really good first, justified turn in attitude. It doesn't feel like one of those typical, I did this because I wanted to. I don't know what you expect. He blatantly said, everyone blames me for everything. Fuck you all. You made me be the ref. You put me in this position. I did what I had to do, and everyone hates me and blame me. Fine, whatever.
Yeah, I think this was the most natural promo he's delivered, I believe, since we started this podcast. So I mean, he's been a face for that entire run, and that I don't know. He's done good promos obviously since then, but I mean, this he had a great amount of like arrogance and edge that really makes him. I mean, it's talk about it, like art imitates life. Like this is how he was. This was his personality around this time. He was kind of a obnoxious, brash, annoying, but also could athletically gifted and like charismatic person that all rolled up into one. It's a great kickoff to that. I did like that Vince was the one that at first conducted the interview because he'd been fawning over Shawn so much that Shawn telling him to shut up and shove it was like a great moment. And then he gets out of the way.
Well, then even when he chuckles, because Shawn's like jabbed him before, and Vince kind of laughs it off. But even this one, Vince was like, okay, like that. It's like a kid who like goes like one step too far with your dad. He was like, enough. Like, all right, like I'm not gonna stand for like you can bust my balls here and there about chuckling and laughing, but like you don't have to be a fucking prick to me. And like that's when Vince walked away.
Yeah. So that part was slammed up for me. Some of the Undertaker and Shawn interaction I thought was good enough. I'm still struggling with Undertaker. I think that may be a perpetual thing from here on out. But I mean, there's just some stuff with him. Like he comes out and he says, I've done a lot of talking. I'm not going to talk," and then he proceeds to talk for like 10 more minutes. So it's like, well, I just don't think like his character. I understand it's a tough character because you could get shoehorned into. Like, he's the dead man. So how much emotion should he show? Should he not show? Like how much human element? It's a very like thin line, and you can go to the supernatural nonsense too quickly too, and too much. So it's tough, but I just feel like every time we get to the Cade stuff, especially like it feels like we're a little bit derailed and my interest wanes a little bit. That's what happened here. Like this took it from like a great all-time promo to where if I was watching on this night, it was like once Bear comes on the screen, I could see myself reaching for the remote, then saying, "All right, what's on Nitro?"
Nothing, because Nitro's. Oh yeah, never mind. It's 3 hours, so it is on tonight.
Yeah.
Yeah, they didn't. They probably could have, for once, just not done it here. Like they probably could have just. We already heard Bear earlier with Vader. Like maybe could have snuck it in there. I think for one time we probably didn't need him like coming on Taker's coattails.
No, I mean saying he was like hanging out with Kane last night. It was like, what was it?
Yeah, he was on SummerSlam, so it was weird.
I mean, were they by their phone waiting to see if Pat Gill called them for the $1 million challenge? I mean, what are we talking about? So, stupid.
All right, we get our SummerSlam encore promo. The voice of Todd, who again I don't think we really see him ever again, hypes up the new free WWF poster Discovery Zone. So the ring we go is Ahmed Johnson's taking on Chains. The Nation leads the very juiced Ahmed to the ring. A little bit mashup with Ahmed and the Nation's music, which is kind of cool. We get a quick clip of Sarge meeting with local WWF doctor Frank Romascavage and asks him what's up with Austin. Doc says Austin has spinal shock syndrome, which affects his neck, lower brain aspects, and upper back muscles and arms, and it's recommended he will not wrestle. Sarge verifies. So you're telling me Austin should not wrestle tonight? And then he thanks the good doctor for that. The DOA's out on their bikes to a pop. Ross says Ahmed blames Chains for his most recent knee injury and surgery. Sarge is back ringside. He makes the Nation and DOA leave. Ross says Sarge seems a little overzealous tonight and takes a dig at UPS. Something like Vince, did he own UPS stock? I feel like every week we get a joke about the UPS driver strike. Like, I don't know why it's such a hot topic for them, but it's like, I don't remember this at all, but it's like a constant like comment every week about this stupid thing.
There's got to be some. I mean, it's Vince, so there was some political or some financial problem that was going on with that. So
yeah, they keep bringing it up. Johnson and Chains talk some shit. Ahmed turns his back and Chains attacks the knee. Chains misses a charge, bangs off the middle rope. Ahmed follows a Michinoku driver. He's all fired up and yells to the announcers, "Everybody's gonna die." Ross and Vince are just like, I don't know what he said. Like it was intense. Ross is like, "Is he hallucinating up there?" It was fucking crazy. It's like everyone's gonna die. Ahmed hits a second Michinoku driver. Savio and Jose show up at ringside. They hop on the bike. They're messing with it. That, of course, distracts Chains. Ahmed hits the Pearl River Plunge for the win. The DOA come out. They chase off the Bariquas. The Nation's out. They stand tall around Ahmed as DOA stands on the apron. The Nation do their salute, but then Farouk just punches Ahmed, and the Nation beat him down. DOA watch and then leave as Farouk whips Ahmed with a belt, and D'Lo jumps off the top into his knee, which makes Ahmed scream in pain. A clumsy mess. Johnson's a maniac. On offense, his mangled words, which I'd argue made it better than it probably should have been because he's so nuts. I don't understand the post-match. Like, Ahmed finally was getting some momentum. He looked good with the Nation, and now we're resetting the Nation again. We're going to get a new member in a couple of weeks, but it's like, is he hurt? Is he that hurt again that he needs some time off? Because this felt like an injury right off for a bit. I know he's not gone that long, though. I think he's on TV again pretty soon. So maybe this figure is not working, and Ahmed didn't want to do it. Like, I don't know why the quick turn to kick him out. So I want a star for the whole thing, but it's like, it's just very, very confusing why it went this way.
Yeah, a half star for me. This whole thing was a mess. It started with Slaughter asking Doc about Austin. I mean, we saw he was in the hospital. I don't know why we need a diagnosis from Doc. He can't wrestle. I think Sarge probably could have put 2 and 2 together there. But Ahmed is like gassed to the gills, angry. Like, I thought he was gonna kill Chains in this 1 minute match because both of the power bomb moves, Chains almost lands on his neck. He's yelling as he mentioned, and then the post match where he looks like a complete doofus. Like, he just, he turned, which we talked about, which was needed. It made sense, and I don't think he's been getting that bad a reaction, but I think it has to be either something like injury or what, because like he's pretty much done. Like, I looked it up, and he's got some stuff, obviously, like the playoffs.
Well, he's around till like March, so
yeah, no way out of Texas around there. So he's but very few appearances on Raw.
Like, I think he just keeps getting hurt. I know he's at Survivor Series. Maybe is he off till then? Maybe he was hurt. Maybe because I always put his knee up in that brawl.
September he's got, or end of August. Like, he has another match coming up, and like we know what they're planning with the new member of Destroy the Nation. But I don't know why Ahmed couldn't have been. I mean, he just looks like an idiot. Like, I mean, there's no other way to say it. Like, you really hung him out to dry with this whole angle because he finally turns it. It hasn't been that long. It's been
I wonder if there's anything out there in the Observer or something why they did it. Like
it's a mess. This is such a.
Did they just think it didn't work? Was Ahmed not happy backstage? Like, I don't know, because he looked good with him. Like,
he looks like a good intimidating presence. I mean, his physicality, he's definitely like, it's getting bad very quickly. But
yeah, the injuries killed him. I mean, we were like really into him in early '96. We were like,
I would say there's very few people in wrestling history that have been that high and that low in a 2-year span. Like, it's from 96 to 98. Yeah,
but even now, like, go look at King of the Ring to like King of the Ring '96 to now.
Yeah,
when he beats Goldust.
But I mean, he had
not even King of the Ring. Go to July, like July to July, when he's supposed to fight Shawn on that Raw, and he gets his kidney gets fucked up by Farouk. He's like, and he's supposed to fight Shawn for the world title on Raw. And that's it. Like, he's never the same again.
Right. Yeah. It's a problem.
So Everett says he's at the Raw at MSG and injures himself on the first ever match with the new stylized announce tables. He hits a nail on the table. He does have like bad luck.
Yeah.
I'm surprised he didn't get like tetanus infection or something.
He's a very interesting. I'd be interested to see though somebody like when this drops or anybody that's in our chat. Is there anybody else that you could compare in wrestling history? Because really, like, it's so. I mean, he had not debuted till the end of '95 for us, and like we said, by like '98, he's gone, and it's like up and. I mean, it's so quick that it's just. And it's not like sometimes you saw that like in the territorial days, like these guys that would come in and then, but usually that's like they didn't work out, like
yeah, he was over.
Whatever. Yeah, he was over.
And if anyone has anything on why they aborted the Nation too, let us know.
Yeah.
Because I know he gets the knee injury, but he's back in action, so it couldn't have been that severe.
It's very odd.
Are we getting an ad for the Heart and Soul SummerSlam shirt? $25 plus 6 shipping and handling from Mount Morris. To the ring, the Godwins taking on the Headbangers. The Godwins are in the ring as we come back. The Headbangers follow out. Hank clubbers Thrasher off the bell, buries a hard shoulder block. Thrasher takes over, gets a side headlock. Mosh and Phineas tag in. Ross hypes up a big show in Boston on 8/16 in Atlantic City for Raw on 8/18 in a couple weeks. Mosh drives Phineas to the floor with a drop kick. When he returns, Mosh works the arm. Thrasher meets him with a shoulder block off the top, turns into a hard Hank lariat. Vince announces since Austin's out tonight, Dude Love will take his place against Owen Hart in the main event. Hank slams Thrasher, drops a forearm off the middle rope. Phineas comes in, keeps up the assault. Phineas slaps Thrasher around and gets 2 on a suplex, runs into a boot on a charge. Mosh gets in the ring, gets the tag and cleans house as Ross says it's a big mistake to put Pillman in that dress. He's psychotic and he could snap. All 4 brawl. Mosh gets a roll up. The ref is tied up with Thrasher. Hank gets a slop drop. Phineas covers for the win. Basic tag match. The Godwins continue their role. It's a little bounce back from SummerSlam. They've been much easier to watch for sure. We've talked about it since the heel turn, like not as mind numbing when they come out. So 2 stars for this one.
Yeah, 2 for me. I could have used a couple more minutes of this actually, and good to see the Godwins again get on a roll a little bit. That it continues to be my kind of perpetual thing with the Headbangers. They still feel very aimless, and here they are doing the job to the Godwins. So I definitely think they're one of those, like we talked about. They're just their memory so far has been much more amplified than their actual run. So.
I'd say it's very similar to the Guns. Like I think it's a real Guns vibe where you remember them kind of dominating an era in a way, and then you're watching it. It's like, well, actually, they've barely been part of anything, but then they eventually do get their moment. I think they kind of heat up toward the end of the year. But Goldust and Marlena come to ringside. After the break, we see they're sitting front row. Michael Cole comes over and asks, "What's up?" Marlena says, "We know Pillman's not a gentleman, but we want to see how he acts as a lady." Goldust says, "Pillman's an idiot, but he wouldn't miss this for the world." And then Brian Pillman comes out to take on Bob Holly. Pillman's music hits. He kind of pokes his head out of the curtain, and Sarge comes from behind and shoves him onto the ramp. We get some laughs in the crowd. Vince and Ross both say it's a mistake to make Pillman do this. Pillman sprints to the ring, kicks the shit out of Holly. Pillman shrugs off a boot, keeps hammering on Holly. We get some F-word chants in the crowd. Holly gets an atomic drop at a clothesline. Goldust and Marlena are laughing. Holly stomps low, lifts the dress. We see Pillman's ass. Holly smacks it, twists him into a scoop power slam, misses a top rope leg drop. Ross keeps saying, "We're creating a monster here. Slaughter should let it go." Marlena and Goldust wave around a bra. Pillman comes out to confront them. Goldust keeps him distracted long enough, and of course, he's counted out. Holly gets the win, and this will keep Pillman in the dress for another week. Basic fire from both guys. The crowd got some laughs. Goldust and Marlena got some laughs. Pillman stooging around in the dress was great, of course. So 2 stars. This is kind of the Pillman show here.
I want to start a quarter. I don't know. I didn't like this because they're presenting it as like this humiliation is creating Pillman a ticking time bomb, but I thought like the dress and the stuff was played too much for laughs, so you couldn't really, compliment that to Pillman's edginess and stuff. And it just like the best stuff with Pillman that we've seen is when kind of he's legitimately over the edge and really dark and out of control. And this is more, again, like a Memphis stipulation. So it felt a little blurred in that way, and I didn't really resonate much to it.
You'll see how it builds to the stipulation that they end up going with, like if that pushes them to that point.
Yeah.
All right, main event time. It is Dude Love stepping in for Austin against Owen Hart. Brett's at the announce table. Vince is standing and barking in his face and says Brett thinks he can do what he wants since he's the champion. Pretty intense reaction from Vince. Like he's having a night for himself here.
Slaughter's read out like 7 times, and he's all on gas. Then Brett comes out for commentary. I know he's the commissioner, but it's like he's just sitting at the seat. And, Vince was good. Like, what gives you the right to say? It's like, all right, dude.
Yeah, Vince is not happy. Like you said, Sarge is there. Ross says he's there to ensure Brett stays in line. Brett says Shawn didn't have to pass a big test to do commentary. And King says, or to be a referee. And Brett laughs, which is funny. He says he should give up on that job. Owen heads to the ring. He's going to slam. He looks aggravated, greets his brother. King kisses up to Brett and says Austin should have forfeited the title to Owen tonight. Out comes Dude. Owen attacks him with the bell, bangs him into the top turnbuckle. Dude comes back with a bulldog, clothesline. Dude goes up, jumps down, and punches Owen. Owen rallies with a spin kick. Brett says when he and Owen return to Canada tomorrow, there'll be a big ceremony welcoming them back. Dude slings Owen to the floor as we see Austin watching backstage. Dude follows and bangs Owen off the announce table, talks some shit to Brett. Back in the ring, Dude works the arm as King talks about Queen Elizabeth turning 97 today. Dude lands some kicks, hammers away in the corner. Brett's grousing about America. Dude breaking the rules. Dude drops an elbow. Vince wants to know why King and Brett all of a sudden are buddies after all these terrible things that King has said over the years. King says now they're just seeing eye to eye, and he recognizes the great talent. Brett and Vince argue about SummerSlam. Vince gets a little bit pushy about his win. Owen turns the tide, shoves Dude to the floor. After a break, Dude is pulling Owen back to the apron, knocks him back outside. King says a fan of the Burger King crowd is harassing Crown in the crowd is harassing Brett as Dude whiffs on a running elbow on the ramp. Brett calls Dude stupid. Back in the ring, Owen, it's a missile drop kick, kips up, it's a suplex, hammers away. Brett says Patriot is going to be another American that gets flushed down the toilet. Owen slugs away a Dude who hooks Owen's leg from the apron. Owen nails him with an enziguri to knock him to the floor. Runs him into the turnbuckle from the apron. Knocks him back to the floor. Back in the ring, Owen slams Dude. It's a nice top rope elbow for 2. Bulldog heads inside, out to ringside as Owen drop kicks Dude to the floor. Slaughter goes over to deal with Bulldog. Brett says, I have to tie my shoe. So he gets up and throws Dude into the post and then back in the ring. Brett sits back down as Owen goes to the sharpshooter. The crowd fires up because Austin is out, circles around and pushes through Slaughter to the announce table. He's yelling at Brett. Sarge and Brett get into it as Austin nails Owen with a slammy, and Dude covers and gets the win. Austin leaves as Brett checks on Owen and the Dudettes hit the ring and swarm the Dude to celebrate. This is all right. It's a fine pivot. Obviously, I don't know if they were planning on an Austin Owen rematch tonight or what they had originally planned. You could tell this was like kind of a last minute thing. But we'll see. They're keeping it in the mixer now. Brett was okay on commentary. But I think a focus more about being bitter and being screwed and less of the American stuff now would be better for him. Like he's almost regressing as a promo because he just leans on the American stuff. Like anytime anyone says anything, well, America sucks and Americans always shoot. Like it just feels like he just goes to it all the time. And I liked it better when it was more of I'm screwed all the time, because I'm treated. And like that was the impetus for his heel turn in the beginning. Less about the Canadian American stuff, which has been a big deal. But it just feels like they could get more out of it if they just blend it in better.
Right.
I do like him and King being buddies now. I think that's pretty funny. Vince being angry too. I liked. So a good close to an eventful night. I went 2 3/4 for the match. It was very just basic. Again, you could tell they kind of threw it together.
I mean, I went 2 3/4 too. I think if you see like Foley versus Owen on paper, give it like 9 minutes, you may think it's a little bit better than it is. I face Dude though, I think Henry's probably the worst of all of Foley's personas, whether a heel or a face. All 6 versions of that. I'd put face Dude at the bottom of that. I agree that Brett and Key buddying it up on commentary was very funny and amusing. Colette, Foley's wife's one of the Dudettes.
Mm-hmm.
She's looking good in the leopard print dress and comes out and celebrates at the end, jumps on straddles Dude at the end, which was a nice moment. Overall a decent main event. I mean, like I said, they really were express late on all the matches except for this one. So this felt like it got like this may have been more emphasized just because it's the only match that got tied. But I don't know. I felt a little thrown together too. So
I definitely was
adequate, but
I doubt it was the planned match for the night. There had to be something with Austin because they were gonna were they gonna pay off the kiss my ass thing? Like so it might have led to a rematch with the two of them, or there had to be something planned along those lines.
Yeah.
Like I can't imagine they're gonna main event Dude Love and Owen otherwise. There had to be something else planned, because otherwise you would have maybe ended even with the Shawn promo or something.
Right.
A stare now with Taker or something like that. All right. Match of the night. I had that match, the main event.
I think by default it's the gotta be the match of the
night. Moment to me was definitely the Michaels heel turn.
Yeah, the promo from Michaels is definitely the highlight to me on this Raw.
Michaels MVP.
Yep.
No Shots Fired. Debuts, we had Slaughter, who I don't think we've seen yet at all. And then Dr. Roma Scavenge was here with us.
You come put him, is he a character going forward? Or?
I don't know. We'll find out. I read about him quick just to make sure I got the name right, and I guess he was like their house doctor. Like I don't know if he goes away when who was a Francois Petit comes in and like he's in like 98. But I think Roma Scavenge sounds like he was around like for a while, like in that. I think he's in the Pennsylvania area, but I think he like worked with them quite a bit.
Interesting looking doctor. I mean, I don't know. He didn't exactly look like the symbol of health, Dr. Roma Scavenge there. Yeah.
I went 7 out of 10. Originally it was like more of a 7.5, but then the more I've talked through it, there wasn't as much in there. But I did like the Michaels promo is like a big deal. I liked the whole opening thing with Sarge and the Heart Foundation. I thought was really good. I thought they did a good job building some ground zero matches. They got everyone out there, moved along. It's just, we didn't get a lot in ring on the show.
Yeah, I don't know. This Raw didn't do a whole lot for me. I think the Michaels promo is great. And I do agree, like they're moving stuff forward, so that was something. But between the quickness of the matches and just some of the feuds, I think are kind of a little bit of a step down from where we were. Like I don't know. I was excited coming out of SummerSlam, and I think I'm less excited of the product after the show. Besides Michael, so I went 5.5. This was probably one of my least favorite Raws in a decent bit, actually.
All right, let's head over to Nitro. Big anniversary.
So I guess we should get this out of the way. They constantly throughout this show announce this is the 100th episode. I looked at Cage Match. Cage Match has this as the 99th Nitro. I did an audit. I think it's the 99th because there's 2 weeks they skipped in like April of 96 and stuff like that. So I think
it's so weird.
I don't know if maybe that Saturday Nitro maybe somehow got put in the. I don't know what happened, but yeah. So we could get that out of the way. Throughout the night, they say it's the 100th Nitro. I don't think it is. It's a pretty.
Well, it is weird because remember we were talking about how they didn't really promote it leading up to it being the 100th Nitro.
Yeah, this show they constantly talk about it. It's a pretty funny like LOL WCW moment or WCW everybody moment, but yeah, I don't think it's the 100th episode. I think it's the 99th. But anyway, we start with Buffer. Gives us let's get ready to rumble as the pyro goes off. Nitro Girls start us off. I got a Nitro Girls counter for the show, so buckle up. And Hollywood Hogan's music starts up, and him and Eric stroll out. Today and Larry kind of set the scene for the show when they're walking down the aisle. They let us know right away that the Steiners, they're hearing rumblings that the Steiners have a big bombshell. So they're going to drop on everybody tonight. That the NWO is worried about it. They also mentioned that Sting and JJ and their interaction that's going to happen later. Hogan has no beard. I guess he was filming. I don't know if when was
this Magic Mountain.
I thought High Noon at Mega Mountain was the reason we had the Savage debacle with his hair at
right
96, but. Yeah, I don't know what comes after that. I just thought it was interesting.
He is doing something because I think there's in a couple weeks they say he's in Montreal filming some movie.
Oh, that makes sense because we'll get to it. But in the main event, he shouts out Montreal, and the camera doesn't really pick it up.
Yeah.
Like, what is he talking about?
In a couple weeks, they shout him out and they say he's because I've watched ahead a little, and he says he's in Montreal on a movie set. So
I tell you what, you need like a notepad to get all these references that the wrestlers are breaking kayfabe with around this time, because between Shawn, Brett, Nash, Hogan, everybody's got their own angles they're working in addition to the actual angles. But yeah, Hollywood
reshoots. The movie reshoots. Wait, is it the movie reshoots or is he doing reshoots, Ryan, with Robert Vaughn? Is that the name of the movie, or is he reshooting scenes from a movie? I don't know.
Okay.
Let's see what he says.
We'll get our trivia stored on the case there. Hogan gets in the ring, says, "When you mess with Hollywood, you mess with the whole NWO. and you will pay dues for life. Says he has 500,000 of his biggest friends coming at Sturgis for Road Wild. So I guess he thinks this is another one of those, like what they say for Bash at the Beach 95. They said 200,000 on the beach or what. Like everybody that's in Sturgis apparently is going to Road Wild.
He said he thinks his reshoots for the movie with Vaughn.
Okay, got it. But he says he has 500,000 of his friends at Road Wild watching his back, but WCW was so cocky that they were able to finagle the paperwork. He said they signed, sealed, and delivered a world title match tonight. I don't like it one bit, but Luger will pay for that mistake. He will drag him through the mud and prove that Hollywood Hogan is the god that made pro wrestling what it is today. The music starts to fire up. Hogan says, hold on, he will wipe the mat with Luger, and the NWO title will stay in the family. And at Sturgis, it'll end up being the number one contender, who is Scott Hall, that he'll face at Sturgis. So this is like, we've heard nothing of this, but if he wins, he'll face Scott Hall at Sturgis.
Yeah, because Hall didn't win. It's not like he won World War III or won a match.
I mean, he doesn't have a match it out, so I guess they wanted to do this as like a little recall, but kind of comes out of nowhere. I like these promos though.
Well, Sturgis Hall has a match. Aren't they fighting the Steiners?
Oh yeah, that's right. It's Macho versus Giant. Yeah, I don't know what he's talking about here. Yeah, forget this. Yeah, this is stupid. Yeah, I don't know. But anyway, I do like that Hogan's promos are. They definitely have been less long-winded than I remembered. This is quick. He's cocky. The line about him being the god that made pro wrestling what it is today is, preposterous but appropriate. And yeah, I enjoyed this. I thought this gave pretty good hype for the main event, so I liked it as an opener.
Did he say 500,000 fat boys? That's what I have as my note. I don't know if he said fat boys, frat boys. When he said the 500,000,
oh, maybe fat boys, maybe bikers. I don't know.
And when the music starts, he says, "Jimmy, hang on a minute," like for Jimi Hendrix. That was cool. Yeah, it was a good bro. I mean, the nugget about Hall is interesting. Like, is that leading somewhere, or is it just Hogan being Hogan? I guess we'll find out.
So the announcers start, they reset, kind of going over the main points. And then we get our opener, which is an interesting match on paper. It's Mortis versus Kurt Hennig. Kurt Hennig's theme music, pretty awful, pretty generic.
Terrible.
WCW does usually good with these, and this is one of the worst ones. And
terrible.
I don't think it ever got recycled.
It's like they put no effort into Hennig until they get to where he's going in a few weeks. It's like they just do like, oh, we're just going to put minimal effort because we know he's heading there. So why are we going to come up with some song and some just fucking kill time for 6 weeks? That's what it feels like they're doing.
Yeah, this was the best fire for sure. So they remind people that Road Wild's on Saturday, not typical Sunday pay-per-view, and that it's adult. They keep
adult themed. He said it's one of our adult themed. They made it sound so like filthy, like the way he said
like it was Girls Gone Wild or something in the crowd.
It's so counterproductive to like you're trying to get families to order, and they're like, it's a little adult. I mean, I guess maybe they're just preparing for like what the biker crowd could say.
Maybe the only adult themed I thought in the 96 show was the bikers being racist to Harlem Heat. I don't know if that's what they consider adult theme. But
I think there are like the women in bikini tops and the thing. Like I do think there's some of that, but like
worse than what the Nitro girls are wearing.
No, they shouldn't say it's adult themed. Like to me, if I'm like watching with my kids and I hear that, I'm less likely to maybe I'm order myself.
Well, your parents might be less likely to order.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like if I hear that, like, and I'm watching with my kid, I'm gonna be like, "What do you mean adult themed?
In the Bible Belt?" Yeah, I don't know. They kept presenting that like, like topless women were going to be mud wrestling or something in the background. I don't know what was going on. But anyway, this match, Matt work, Hennig gets a drop kick. He grabs Vandenberg on the apron. So this match, I ended up going 2 1/4 for the match itself. I thought it was decent. But it's worked very weirdly because Hennig has been a heel in every step of the way since he turned on Page at Bash at the Beach. And in this match, he works it as a complete babyface.
Yeah.
Which made no sense. Later on in the show, he's a heel. So I didn't understand that.
He's been terrible. I'm hoping that once they get to the end game with the story, like it's better. But right now he's not. None of it's been good with him. Like it's been mush mouthed. Nothing. There's no connective tissue. It's felt lazy. The Page thing was fucking terrible at the pay-per-view. Like the whole thing just feels completely like they had an idea, but they wanted to get there, but they don't really care about the journey to get to that idea. They just want to do it.
There's no reason to have him work this match like this versus Mortis, because like Vandenberg gets on the apron, hitting, like shoves him off. He decks him on the outside. Mortis gets a diverted atomic driver and swinging leg kick. And then Hitting starts working over the leg and then hits his hitting plex, which they don't announce in the moment. But then, as they, right after the match today, finally calls it that, the hitting plex. So, yeah, I mean, as a match, like as a 4-minute match, it was fine. I went 2.25, like I said, but I did not get the psychology of how it was worked. I thought this was a misfire as far as opponents matching up.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it kind of kills Mortis. Like Mortis is in a Glacier is unbeaten streak, and then he loses here in a few minutes. So like it's kind of like we pushing Mortis, we're not pushing Mortis.
Yeah.
Hennig's trying to work his way into shape. Yeah, it's just a tough loss of Mortis, but he was game. He looked pretty good. So I went 2.5 in the match. We also get Tony talks about how Sting, like it's been about a year now since like he spoke or looked the same until I want to fuck off, basically. So we're getting toward that anniversary as well.
We come back from the break, and the crowd's holding up. Two guys are holding up a Monday Night Raw side. They rip it into a million pieces. Announcers love that. And then we get a video package that shows the transitioning of Sting throughout the year. I thought that was well done. Any thoughts on the video packages? It was good.
Yeah, it was good.
Tag match here. Jeff Jarrett and DiBiase, new tag team on the scene. They are facing Chavo Guerrero, Hector Guerrero. Hector's yelling about family on the way down. And family sticks together. We are family. So there we go. As they come down to the ring. And today that goes through all the on sale tickets here, where Indianapolis tickets go on sale for a big September 6th house show. They announced right away Hogan will wrestle on that show. And Bobby the Brain, did you get the name of the records? It's like Karma Records or something
no,
like
I didn't
that.
write it down. Yeah.
All right, well, Bobby's in there for the tickets on sale day. Madison, Wisconsin, they're there for Nitro, September 19th. They're at Denver next Monday for Nitro, and then Birmingham at the BJCC on August 18th, and then the big Nashville Clash is August 21st. So that's the rundown I got for the events coming up. And then good start here, I thought, with Dean and Chavo chain wrestling. Jarrett is pretty getting a lot of heat from this crowd. Big Jarrett sucks chant here. Dean and Jarrett work over Hector as Tony kind of runs down the whole card for the rest of the show. Hector fires back and gets a backslide. Larry, I thought, did a good job of commentary talking about how Hector needs to make a tag. Jarrett starts to work on Hector's leg, and Chavo comes in illegally, gets a drop kick. Hector again gets a home spot with a small package, and Larry is just begging for him to make a tag. And that's very short lived, as Malenko is able to get an electric chair drop down, and then the Texas Cloverleaf wins it for this kind of new makeshift tag team. And I like this match. I thought this was a fun little tag here. Hector played his role well. There was some pretty good chemistry, I thought, between Dean and Jarrett as a tag here. And I thought they looked effective, so I went 2 3/4.
Yeah, me too. 2 3/4 as well. Jarrett's really been good since the Horseman stuff finally ended, and he's giving Malenko a bit of a storyline here, so that's been good. I thought he's been entertaining since going with Deborah and getting involved in this whole thing. Like, I'm glad to see the Horseman shit over, because I think it's helped everybody. Like, since Sullivan got out of the way and we finished the Benoit stuff and we finished Jarrett being courted by Flair and all that crap, like everyone's improved across the board. And yeah, the crowd heat's pretty good. I love Larry going in on Hector, calls him stupid for not tagging out. He was really aggravated by that. So yeah, 2 3/4. I liked it.
Raven Gene interview, something we've looked forward to. So Gene asked him that he heard about a big announcement here. Stevie Richards, of course, comes out and interrupts. He has some papers with him. Stevie says, as everybody's seen, he came out with a WCW contract a couple weeks ago, and now he's got one for his man Raven. But however, we ran into a bit of a snag. So he's been at the CNN Center, and this is what he calls Raven boss, which was funny. And Gene's like, boss. And he says he's been at the CNN Center for the last 14 days, meeting with J.J. Dillon and Ted Turner to renegotiate the contract. WCW has the hottest commodity and the king of swing already, but he made sure that that Raven would follow him into WCW.
He said the trail he blazoned.
Yeah, that's right. He blazes the king of swing there. So Stevie says Raven made him look bad last week, and he won't let that happen again. Raven looks over the document, stands up, and then spits and hits at Stevie. We get some Raven chants from the crowd. But Raven goes to punch Stevie. Stevie blocks it and then says into the microphone he's not going to be abused anymore. And the segment ends with an intense stare down. And Tony, of course, is saying, I don't know what's going on. So I continue to really enjoy this dynamic. Of course, Gene is there, kind of meddling in with all this stuff as well, which has been a nice kind of dynamic. I actually think it works because you're so used to how Joey Styles presented himself with like Stevie and Raven that in this different universe, like it's fun to see Gene as the interviewer. Just a different dynamic, but one that works. And overall, I'm really enjoying it. So I like this quite a bit here.
I like Stevie standing up for himself. I'm actually surprised though they kind of did this so soon without them. I mean, maybe they'll reconvene, but like, you would think they were going to come in as like a team and then they turn on them eventually. Stevie says we ran into a snag, and Gene goes, "That sounds like a legal term." And Stevie kind of, there's also it's funny because when he says Raven made me look bad, Gene goes, you didn't look that bad, but we're gonna get moving here. He's trying to hustle him. And then Stevie gives him the contract and a pen. And Stevie goes, the Hampton Inn won't miss this. When he gives him the pen because he took it from the hotel. And Gene goes, you ripped it off from the Marriott. And Stevie goes, shush, shush. So I think that was funny. I mean, Stevie's been great in all this. Raven's great as the straight man. Stevie finally kind of stands up for himself. We'll see where that goes. And look, Gene Okerlund and Stevie Richards are the comedy duo we didn't know we needed in our lives because they're really funny together. And I think Stevie, I mean, this feels like another whiff by WWF. Like, again, you look at the roster in WCW and what they got. Like, these guys could have been so needed on Raw. They would have added a ton as a tag team, as a solo, on the mid card, upper mid card. I don't know if they would have been given kind of the freedom that they get in WCW to kind of do their thing. But man, it feels like WWF is like in partnership with ECW at this point. And I know it kind of starts right after Raven leaves, but they had been planning it. It just feels like this was right in the doorstep. And I guess Vince, I don't know if he still has issues with Scott Levy, like from everything before, maybe that's why, but this feels like it could have been a real big boost to them.
Right. So the Nitro party.
Once the match was the movie, I mean, was Mackenzie's Island, according to Ryan.
There we go. The classic.
Coming to the Patreon. Chad's
of course. So the Nitro party information is given where we learn that one winning entrant every week gets a Nitro party pack with some goodies in there, including some wrestler recipes. So look forward to Keith Langston cooking up some of those recipes pretty soon to a podcast.
Here's iceberg lettuce special.
He actually should try to recreate some of those Nitro Grill items. He could do that. We could dig up the old Nitro Grill menu and see. Yeah. Next is a 301 handicap match. It's the Giant versus quite a trio here. Joey Max, Scott D'Amore, and Liddy Lane. So Squash City here. Giant dismantles all three, gives all three choke slams, and about a minute and a half here. It was impressive, just him running through these guys, but quite an eclectic group here. I would have starred for the match.
Yeah, me too. It was a fun segment. Seeing D'Amore out there was pretty funny.
Yeah, with what's happened with him backstage, you don't really think about him much as a wrestler anymore. So seeing him in this position. So Macho at the end of the match comes or interrupts. He's on the aisleway, brother. And I think this is the introduction of his awesome like prison shirt. And I love that shirt. Like the image on the front, it looks great.
Yeah, him looking through the bars or whatever.
Yeah, through the bars of the prison. So it says a giant is out of control. It's cool for him because that means that Sturgis, the madness, will be in control. And he says, "Stay put right there because you don't want none of this right here." Of course, the giant basically runs after him and Savage retreats. So pretty basic promo here. But as we talked about, like that's a match that I'm looking forward to seeing what it looks like at Road Wild. It's been, I think, decently built. It's kind of in that, I would say, Shamrock Bulldog vein where, all of a sudden they gave some like continuity and feud behind it. So we'll see what the finished product looks like.
Yeah, this is just some final heat for that. And they haven't fought. Like, what do you say? It was Fall Brawl '96 they fight, I think.
Yeah,
so it's been about a year since they've crossed paths. So
right. WCW Saturday Night, which Tony basically calls like the pregame for Road Wild. We'll see Kurt hitting, Dallas Page, Alex Wright, and Ric Flair in action. So they got some heavy hitters certainly on that show. We get another video package. This one airs of the total package. Lex Luger, another good job. Pretty basic video package, but something that as we talked about, we'd like to see more of, and I think that would make sense to see more of. Public Enemy versus High Voltage rematch here, where High Voltage picked up the upset win. It's been about a month since we last saw Public Enemy. Tony today praised Sabisco last week for what they did to Eric Bischoff. I thought Robbie Rage looked good in the early going. He really puts the boots to Rocco Rock. But then this kind of breaks down. So we get some generic brawling. Rage is on the table. Of course, Chaos is able to move him out of the way. Rocco Rock goes flying through it. I can't. I would love to. We should have had a counter on this. So how many times like Public Enemy actually is the one that goes through the table? Their success rate has to be worse than Ric Flair coming off the top rope. They're always the ones that go through this table. It makes no sense. Slingshot leg drop by Rage. Larry's telling them, they need to be more aggressive, kind of talking about how they're basically young and dumb and not going for the pinfall and staying on top of Grudge. And it comes back to bite him as Grudge gets a fluke pin that, this roll up by Grudge looked almost as bad as Steve Austin's the night before. He had a broken neck. So that, if that tells you anything, after the match, they beat up Grudge with a piece of the table. So overall, this is not a feud I'm really looking forward to seeing continue. Tony pushes that they're 1-1 now, so I don't necessarily need to see a rubber match here. Match itself, I thought was okay. I went 2 stars.
This is actually their third one, right? Because I think High Voltage beat Public Enemy twice. It's their fourth one, and Public Enemy won the street fight back in April. So this is their fourth match.
All right, enough of these guys. This is entering Herder Hurst Hemsley, Mark Barrow territory here.
Tony again mentions Road Wild being adult themed, and this time he says due to the eye-popping scenery. So he's going to be talking about like the clothing, like the women.
I mean, maybe they thought that like somebody, if they did a close up, there was a chance like somebody would,
flash the camera,
or something. Yeah.
Or like I wonder if they got complaints like the year before, and they did this as like a warning, or standards of like maybe someone from Turner said something like. It feels like there must have been something that led them to it. But he does say it again. Yeah, I mean, it's fine. It was a scrappy tag match, had a little bit of energy, some awkward timing. It's what you expect with these teams. So 2 1/4. And it definitely feels like we're 3 hours tonight. So let's throw these guys back out there.
Yeah. Pretty
like
much
a 2 hour Nitro, they're probably not sniffing at this point.
Yeah, everybody on the roster gets a chance tonight, which I think in the totality of the show is something we are not too used to. So I liked it, but there was a couple of hiccups, and this was probably one of them. So Nitro Girls number 2 come out to dance. Some real funny moment where Alex Wright then is like in the background dancing with them. So Gene does his interview with Alex Wright. He tells him to don't quit at your day job. We learned it's going to be Chris Jericho versus Alex Wright on Saturday. Alex Wright starts speaking German. Gene tells him to knock off the Wiener Schnitzel, that this is America. So really, Gene,
this is Detroit. We speak English.
First he talked to the people that matter to him. Then he'll talk to the people that he could care less about. Gene lets him know that some guy in the crowd's telling him he's number one, flicking him off. Wright says, hey, if Jericho wants to be embarrassed again, he will be at Road Wild. That's for sure. He is important and the best wrestler because he is from Germany. Then Gene tries some like German, but Wright kind of pushes that off and says that America is stupid. And the interview ends, and Tony lets us know that he'd rather hear Gene speak German than Alex speak English. So this is kind of like a mess of a promo, but I actually enjoyed it. Just because
it was funny.
I mean, Gene's Wiener Schnitzel line got a pop out of me.
Not the Wiener Schnitzel. Gene also says, Danny Terrio, when he says, don't quit your day job for your dancing. Which is that's Saturday Night Fever, right? I think Danny Terrio.
Yeah.
And then Wright calls Jarrett the kitty cat, which made me laugh as well, instead of the Lionheart. He goes, oh, the kitty cat, Chris Jericho. So it was pretty funny. I mean, I'm a Wright fan, like especially heel Alex Wright here during the stretch. I really like him. So this was entertaining. I do wonder if they're leaning in on like the foreigner stuff because it's working so well for WWF that they're like, all right, we'll have Wright push the German aspect of his character because everyone's like a nationalistic guy right now in wrestling. But whatever it was, it worked.
Don't quit your day job there. All right. So then we get Alex Wright versus Scotty Riggs. Another kind of random matchup here, but an aggressive start. Starts on the outside. They're laying into each other. Wright gets sent into the rail, but he recovers, beats up Riggs on the inside, hits a knee from the top, starts dancing around. Double cross body, and both of them hit the cross body, but Riggs lands on top. That gets a near fall. And then Riggs is able to hit the enziguri. But he puts Wright on the top rope. Wright is able to hit a headbutt from sitting on the ropes and then hits a missile drop kick, which they say is kind of like him digging into Jericho because that's one of Jericho's pet moves. So Wright hits the missile drop kick to pick up the win here. Actually, I thought a little bit of a match that overperformed for me. I didn't think much of it, but I was pretty entertained by it. 2.5 stars. I thought Riggs actually looked pretty good too here.
Yeah, 2.5 for me as well. I mean, Wright continues to improve in the ring and as a character, and Riggs hung with him. I mean, Riggs is fine in this, like, Jabba to the Stars, maybe a notch up from Jabba to the Stars role. It's kind of like 1990 Tito, Coco, like one of that level right now.
Like he's better than Prince Ikea. So like,
oh yeah. He's just that role. He's that guy that's been around forever. That's like, he can work. He's the litmus test guy, right? Al Snow. He's one of those guys. He's a veteran. You stick him in there, he'll put someone over. He's fine. He's not going to embarrass himself. And before you know it, he'll be doing the clap in ECW.
So our number 2 starts. Tony gives us a nice shots fired here where he says this is the hour to chase the competition away. Of course, digging into
I guess, but they're still head to head in this hour. It's not like
they are. So I don't know. Maybe,
but I guess maybe they're saying like they're moving their best stuff away from us, so it gets over. Maybe
right. They had to go an hour unopposed or something. Yeah. I don't know. Luger interview with Gene. Luger says sometimes opportunity knocks when you least expect it. This is his night. There are defining moments in everyone's life and career. This is his moment. And it's also a defining moment for WCW as well as the NWO. Their paths will finally collide. He heard Hogan spewing his garbage earlier. Luger says, maybe you did make wrestling what it is today, Hogan, but he will make history because he guarantees he will put him in the rack and become the WCW champion tonight. So I thought this was actually a great Luger promo. Made more sense. It was his usual kind of run-on sentence, but it was succinct. He got across the gravity, guarantees victory, which, what happens, obviously he knew what was going to happen later. So made sense for him to go ahead and do that guarantee, so he didn't sound like an idiot later on. So overall, I really enjoyed
this. Yeah, the only thing I was worried about was like, is this the end of Luke? Like, is this peak moment, this promo in the main event, and then from here? But we'll see. Maybe it lasts longer than I remember.
Probably.
And I'm like, and I know just from listening to like, Are You Smarter Than Vince Russo with like Schiff and Logan? They've really seen like Luger in like 99, 2000, like with that gimmick that he had going on then. So maybe there's a little bit of a bounce back, but I feel like this promo
total
is like
package gimmick.
Yeah, that whole thing they does with him and Liz, where he's always trying not to get out of matches with Goldberg and stuff. Like they just spoke highly of it, like how funny he was. But this feels to me like someone that not in the moment knowing it, but almost like leaving it everything out on the court on this one night because this is never going to be this good again for him. Like it's probably one of his best promos, one of his biggest moments, and it's like,
Well, I mean, we get to it when we talk about the main event, but like, I mean, Luger sits again. I'm watching '87 wrestling, so I mean, when he comes in and he debuted with JCP, his first promo on World Championship Wrestling 605 is he's asking for a spot in the Horseman, and JJ's like all flattered, and Ric Flair's talking about him. So, but he came in really strongly presented, and he's been like that for 10 years. And he'd been a world champion, but the circumstances in which he won it, were so like Flair bolted and Flair constantly didn't want to get. If you knew the backstage stuff, like Flair didn't want to give it to him, he constantly wanted to give it to Sting over. There's just so much that's like, well, hey, at least he realized like this was going to be his moment. For him to say like these are defining moments, for him to like actually realize that, like whether it's a wrestling promo or not, it's a truth that is a reality for what happens with him from this point on. So good that he at least typed it up.
Well, you probably already knew that he was losing next week. I mean,
like
it's not a surprise.
I think so. He knew this was transitional. So yeah.
So he knows this is his moment.
And I mean, I'm sure everybody. Again, I'm sure too. By this point in the promotion, they knew that like Sting at Starrcade was the end point too. So, like, yeah, I mean, like it's an interesting thing because like he is obviously like legitimately friends with Sting, so it's got to be a kind of tough dynamic that you're happy for your friend, but it does always feel like oh, he's always given like the spotlight over me.
He's the savage of their mega powers,
Yeah, it's a very interesting dynamic. So the NWO music fires up. Bobby says,
one thing I just want to call too, like Bobby, when he comes in, Tony compliments his tie, but we don't ever see the tie. What do you think it was? like, was it a gift to give? Because Tony says, "Oh, nice tie, brain," or something.
Oh,
I don't know if we call that. Also, Gene hyped the Red Wings Stanley Cup, which had just happened, which I forgot was a thing. Red Wings being dominant in the late 90s.
Yeah, it's tough. They're right in the feud with your big Avalanche around this time. So there you go. Real blood feud there. So the NWO music fires up. Bobby says you can talk a good fight, but Hogan's a tough man to beat. We get a interesting match on paper here. Six versus Chris Benoit. Great start out of the gate. Benoit's intense going after Six. He does a dive to the outside with Six bells. But when he comes back in, he gets called on the ropes and then the Tree of Woe position. And then I love this. Like Six does a variation of the Bronco Buster with Benoit in that Tree of Woe position that looks pretty nasty. Six misses the somersault leg drop from the top rope. Some nasty chops for Benoit. Huge backdrop that Six takes a great bump off of. A back suplex gets two. Six gets caught on the top rope. Benoit signals for the back suplex from the top rope. But Jarrett comes in for the DQ. Mongo comes out, absolutely whacks Jarrett. Today's asking where Malenko is, and he runs in and goes after Benoit. We actually get a really good brawl here as Tony hypes up the match at Road Wild. So this is a quick match between Six and Benoit, but a match I enjoyed a good bit. I thought it was a good match, and then the post-match brawl I liked a lot too. So I ended up going 3 stars for this overall.
Yeah, 2 3/4 for me. I thought the match really popped well. With more time too, would have been like like maybe a hidden classic. I mean, like they were just getting brewing when we get to the finish. This would have been a fun match for them to do with like the Clash as a rematch where they can get a little bit more time, maybe. But it was red hot. It was a good setup for Saturday at that adult pay-per-view. And I like too the talking points about how the NWO, the whole crew is here tonight. And that's like just another challenge for Luger. Like he's gonna have to deal with everyone in ranks, to defend Hogan. So
Nitro Girls number 3 appearance. And then again with the 3 hours, I think we get a match that also wouldn't have been booked if we were going 2 hours. See Vincent about the NWO theme. He's facing Booker T. Now this essentially is the setup for what's coming up at Road Wild, where Vincent's been seconding Vicious and Delicious, and it's going to be them versus Harlem Heat and Road Wild. But tonight they're not with him, and Tony says it's great to see the NWO outnumbered for once. And Stevie's out there with Booker, and nobody's helping poor Vincent out. And this is a very quick match. I went a quarter star. Vincent gets beat up and gets pinned with the Harlem sidekick very quickly.
Yeah, quarter star for me too. I mean, it's weird that they sacrificed him. The whole crew is here. That's all we keep hearing about. Like, why didn't anyone help him? I guess they're going to say, well, they were getting ready to be there for Hogan, I guess, or something. But like, it was an odd choice to just have him get murdered. We are going to start to see, and it kind of starts here, focus on Booker as like a guy outside of Harlem Heat. Like we start to see more singles stuff from him coming up in spotlight matches. So it's very big Brett like 89 whatever vibes,
I don't think they mentioned it, but did they mention it on this show? But I mean, Buff and Norton were in Japan for the G1, so they should have said that if they did.
Right.
So they definitely should have mentioned that just on commentary, so we are not left to wonder. Also, why like Buddha and Chono wouldn't have been there, right? So they could have mentioned that. Hey, like NWO cruise in Japan for G1. DDP's interview with Gene. He comes out and says most of his life people thought he was conceited, but he's not conceited. He was convinced. He busted his chops every night and gave 120% in the ring. There's another guy that gave 120% in the ring for over 20 years, and he respects him as a wrestler more than he would ever believe. They haven't had a personal issue because he thought they were aligned because they hated Hogan, they hated Savage. But now he's courting Kurt Hennig, and he hates Kurt Hennig. Page says he thinks Flair is going to beat him up tonight, so he won't make it to Sturgis. And if that's his plan, I don't think so. Flair, you may have my respect, but I have your number. Bang! So I like this promo. Mm-hmm. These are two that have not crossed paths at all. We'll get to when we get to the match, but just, I mean, an interesting like Nitro match I think they created here between Flair and Page. And I like the promo. Like, I mean, Page with his side of the hitting stuff, I think he's kind of definitely carrying the weight of the feud and doing a good job. But yeah, I like this as a promo.
Yeah, it was good. And the mystery of Hennig rolls on. Is he a horseman? Because Page basically says you're a horseman and you're sending Flair out here.
According to him, he's like, according to you, you're a horseman in my eyes or whatever, right?
Yeah. So no, Page is really good here. Yeah.
Big hoss match here. Barbarian versus Wrath. Good power battle here. Barbarian's able to block the first death penalty attempt, but then he comes back and beats down Wrath in the corner. The announcers are putting that over on commentary that they've never seen Wrath in that vulnerable a position. But Barbarian goes up top, gets caught. Then he gets caught the death penalty to give the victory for Wrath in about 4 minutes. Mead comes out and has a stare down with Wrath. So it looks like they're going to be facing off pretty quickly. And Vandenberg tells Wrath not now as he kind of pulls Wrath back. So, again, pretty good hoss battle here for the time allotted. I went 2 1/4.
Yeah, we get the announcements too for next week. Salt Lake, Spokane, Seattle, San Francisco. Bobby says, I was selling out Market Square Arena before Reggie Miller even bounced the basketball, which is a good line. This is good. It was short-lived as expected, but it was a good slugfest. It's the most Wrath was vulnerable too, so good on Barb to get that shine. The most exciting part of this is if we get a tag scenario with the Faces of Fear versus Mortis and Wrath. Like, I'm actually really excited for that.
Yeah, I think that could be good. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Mortis and Wrath have been good since they've debuted, and Face of Fear are always awesome. So the four of them beating the shit out of each other, like, you know, it's two kind of heel teams, is going to war. Feels exciting to me. I went 2.5 stars for the match.
Well, so now it's time for the Steiners' big announcement. They waste no time. As G calls them out, they walk out, and then right behind them is Ted DiBiase. So the announcers put that over as huge, says we hadn't seen him in a while. And Ted gets in the ring, and he says, tells G, he's been on the inside and the outside. Sometimes in life, you can't see the forest from the trees. You have to back up and see what's important. As G knows and let everybody know, his dad died in the ring in 1969. He vowed right then and there that he would be a star. He was able to accomplish that, but along the way, he lost track of what was important. He used to live by the cliche of every man has a price, but he's one that paid that price, and that stopped here. He doesn't expect the Steiners to just accept him on blind faith, but he will start tearing down what he helped build by ripping out the heart of the NWO and taking the titles. This is a little funny moment where it's a good fired up promo, I thought, from DiBiase here. We've seen from him in years, honestly, both in his late WWF run and his WCW run. But as he's talking about them taking the titles, he almost says World Wrestling Federation because he says,
he starts to say it.
He crosses. Luckily, he gets bailed out here as we get the hey yo as the outsiders come out. Hall says, enough of your sob story, DiBiase. All hail the outsiders. Now, just like everybody here in Michigan, the Einsteiners are really good. Hall and Nash are better, and these gold belts prove it. Nash says, this goes out to you, Pumpkinhead, talking about DiBiase. When we said for life, we meant it. You joined the Steiners. That means you're a dead man. Ted fires back at him, calls them both knuckleheads, and that he knows more about them too than anybody else. And then Nash ends it by saying the only reason they got Ted to be their manager was to get somebody to read the menu to them when they're on the road. So pretty funny line by that.
Yeah, that was good.
I mean, overall, I like this. This is like one of those weird, like, very memorable moments to me as a kid. Like, I remember like DiBiase coming out and me being so fired up that he was with the Steiners. I don't think it ends up meaning a whole lot, but I know for this moment I was like, yeah, like a fist pumping moment. So I enjoyed it. And I thought the promo held up. He gave again a good spirited promo. And as they're going to break, he basically gives kind of the spiel that, he's going to lead them to victory. They'll take the titles in Sturgis. And that time he gets it right. He says the World Championship Wrestling Tag title. So he redeems himself there.
Yeah, this is a good promo, especially once the outsiders got there. And I think DiBiase did a good job of explaining the change in heart and why he's there, so it doesn't feel weird.
Yeah. But
the fit is odd. Like, the Steiners don't really feel like a team that's ever needed a manager. DiBiase, like, they used to feud with him. It's kind of an odd fit. It's also interesting that the announcers take it at face value when over the last year everything has had to be questioned. So, like, why won't they question that this is a ruse? Like, hey, is this a setup? Is DiBiase working on behalf of the NWO to set up the Steiners for the pay-per-view? Like, is this real? Like, they've questioned everyone and everything. And now all of a sudden they're taking DiBiase at his word. They also hype up like the rumors were true. So, they've known. And in the beginning, I like Rick saying, we got him, all excited when DiBiase comes out. So I don't know. Like, I would at least question it if you're them,
Right. I do think there could be some merit, like, to just say that, the Steiners, and you could kind of present it, maybe not necessarily the Steiners are dumb jocks, but sort of like, as we know, the Steiners could get carried away. So we think like DiBiase, he's always a very like powerful, calculated figure that can like hold them in and keep them. Yeah. Something like that. Nitro Girls number 4 appearance of the night, and that leads us to Stagger Lee, who's in Denver.
He's in Denver with a traveling Nitro party in the Cherry Creek area, and we're revved up for Nitro next week, where tickets are still available. Denver is home to the Rockies, the Broncos, the Nuggets, the Avalanche, and the Denver Mint. And one of the big attractions is a museum dedicated to Buffalo Bill. There used to be one dedicated to Wimpy Weasel, but nobody went there. Bobby tells Lee to climb Pike's Peak and jump off. Bobby wins this round. Lee's joke was pretty weak, but Bobby telling him to kill himself by jumping off a mountain was pretty
good. Our next match is Conan versus Psychosis, as we mentioned last week, or the last Nitro we covered, where it's Conan versus La Parca. They rushed through that. Just very, very too quick for him to kind of go through these guys. They should maybe Ray came back quicker than they thought. I don't know, but too much, too quick. So Conan just kind of plows through these guys. This one I thought some action looked okay. Some was sloppy. Again, it's pretty quick, and Conan wins in the Tequila Sunrise around 2 minutes. I would have started a quarter. Not much to this match at all. Ray comes out post match with the crutches, kind of acts like he's really hobbling and still hurt, but it's a fake out. He hits Conan with the crutch and then walks around normally, showing that his leg is good, and helps Psychosis up. So they're showing at least that like the Lucha guys are bonded together. They're like a family. Goes beyond like heel face dynamic or whatever.
Mike and Tony do talk about how DiBiase is the first unforced defection from the NWO. First guy kind of not kicked out or thrown out or whatever. And we have last seen him, what was a Stampede? Went with the Nash and
it's been a while.
And they kept jackknifing Rick or whatever, and he walked off.
Right.
Well, he was tied to the Steiners then too, which I guess is a good touch.
Right.
This was fine. Psychosis is very sloppy on offense into the finish too. I like the post match. They've done a good job, honestly. They've used the 3 hours well to hype up the pay-per-view, I thought. So, half a star for me. Sloppy.
Our next match is I thought I put a lethal lottery looking match here. It's Silver King and Damien versus Glacier and Ernest Miller. Silver King actually gets a little offense on Glacier that he bumps off of, which I was surprised. Damien's taking some pretty wild bumps for the 3 minutes they get here. He takes a somersault bump from the apron to the floor. They ask about Silver King and who his dad is, and today says that his dad's Dr. Wagner. And Bobby has a funny moment where he says he got a root canal from him one time.
Yeah, it was good.
Today he also talks about how he's filming in Mexico for the past month, so you'll see some kind of lucha featurettes coming up about the tradition and all that. The match breaks down. Damien gets caught with a kick from Ernest Miller from the top rope for the win. Another brief match here. I actually used a couple more minutes of this. I went 2 1/4. I thought they meshed pretty well. And, for 2 guys with not much experience, Glacier and Ernest Miller, like we saw it with the Mortis Raft tag at Bash at the Beach, and now here, like they've shown they can be pretty competent and fun in these tag team settings, like surprisingly, like holding their own. So 2 1/4.
Yeah, 2.5 for me. I liked it. A lot of talk here, and it'll become a theme for the rest of the night and into the pay-per-view about that maybe this is the beginning of a downslide for the NWO. And that this is a good time for Sting to come back. Like, we got some momentum. If Sting comes back, we'll be flying high. And then they talk about DiBiase's bankroll. Will that lead to new free agents or alignments to WCW if he opens up the wallet? So, they kind of get into that aspect of it. We get the Valvoline replay here for this one. But another Express Line match. We're just emptying the chamber, getting everyone out there. This one you could have maybe, because I don't think Glacier and Miller are on the pay-per-view, right? So, you could have probably scrapped this and maybe given a little extra time to Six and Benoit or something. Like folks stay with the guys that are on the pay-per-view. Like, they probably could have punted on this one. It was fine. Again, 2.5, but it's like, you don't have to get everyone on the fucking card. You know what I mean? Like, we could do some of the guys that are focused really on Saturday.
Right. So Eric Bischoff comes out. Tony pleads with the announcers that if he comes their way, let's stand our ground and stay here. But he ends up going to the ring. Lets us know he loves everybody, but he has 3 people he has no love for. Last week there was a total disregard for law and order, and that 7'4" Goldberg Goof giant and Larry Sabisco disrespected him. He wants to address it right now, so he calls out JJ. I need to find a new diet, Dylan. JJ waddles down, and Eric says that big idiot giant choke slammed him. And according to his attorneys, if he lays another finger on him, He will sue him for everything his worth, his children's worth, and his children's children will own. With Larry, he won't sue him, but if he lays another finger on him again, he will take that his left foot, and kick him right between his eyes. So JJ laughs at that, and Eric's like, "Why don't you tell Larry that message?" JJ says, "I don't think I'll have to deliver any message to Larry Sabisco," and laughs as he goes away. So they're clearly building a feud here. Again, I thought this was pretty good. Eric got in and out and didn't, labor on the point too long. So it was good.
Yeah, it was fine. It's just sowing seeds for Bischoff, and I think bringing Larry in is good. He's been so vocal against the NWO on commentary, like it makes sense to have him align and taking a stand. So,
hour number 3, uncharted territory here. Nitro Girls number 5 appearance. This time though, they're at the announce booth, and we get some funny lines where Tony's telling Lois to go to bed if she's still watching. Bobby gets up and starts dancing with them. It's really.
It's the adult themed hour.
It's out of control here. And that leads us to Flair versus Diamond Dallas Page. First time singles match. Again, for two guys that it feels like they're in the same promotion for a long time. They do not have many singles matches after this, too, actually. I looked it up, and it looks like they only have 4 that were televised. We won't have another one for like almost 2 years. So just 2 kind of WCW Mount Rushmore type candidates that didn't interact a whole lot against each other here.
But a little brief feud later in like 99, but
99 is where that's really when they have any other interaction besides this on TV.
And it's a quiet night for Flair, which is rare. Like usually we at least get a promo and
no
a match or
promo.
something.
Yep. Yeah. Which I like though, because I kind of remembered that he was begging Hennig to join every week. We at least didn't get that this night. So Hennig shakes Flair's hand as he makes his entrance and then heads backstage. Page gets the early advantage and then outruns Kurt Hennig. As we head to commercial break, we get an NWO for Life shirt shield here. We come back from break. Flair's working over Page. He's strutting around. Page gets a quick flurry, but eats a back elbow. Flair gets caught on top of Flair. Flair is still able to get a couple shots in. Swinging net breaker by Page. Hennig's on the apron. That distracts Page and allows Flair to attack the leg. Boomerang clothesline from Page. Flair's back with some chops. Locks on the figure 4. Page is able to reach the ropes. Page reverses a suplex attempt, gets Flair in the figure 4. And then this, I don't think there's 2 sequences that happen right here that I don't think are too coincidental, that there's not thought behind this. So Page has Flair in the figure 4. Hennig comes in. He gets rolled up by Page. And it's the exact same spot that happens in Flair and Savage at WrestleMania 8 with Hennig coming in, which is interesting because Page and Savage, are like blood feud people. So that same exact spot happens. And then
they do it at Survivor Series 92 as well, I think.
Interesting. So immediately after that, though, Page, then Flair does his Flair flip, runs to the top, and then gets caught with like a clothesline off the top, which also happens.
Flair Savage.
But in WrestleMania 8, that happens, that exact same spot with that exact sequence. So that I thought was like, I don't know if like Page or who put this together, but it just felt like it was too. I know Flair has kind of these same spots. But those, it was like, well, if that was coincidental, that's a heck of a coincidence.
It felt like an homage for sure.
Because of the way Page and Savage are also linked together. Like, it's so weird that it's against these same 2 people. And it's like these, like, even these blood rivals have the same, like, it's like they're almost the same side of the coin.
Right.
They're the same person, just flip side of the coin or whatever. Like, it's really fascinated me. But anyway, like at the end of this match, the forward object gets put in. Hennig comes into the ring, so the DQ ends the match. Hennig gets decked. Page has the forward object in his hand, but he ends up throwing that to the referee. He's going to go after both of these guys alone, and he actually is able to get the double clothesline on both of them, and they bail to a big pop from the crowd. So a really good TV match for me. I went 3 stars, really fun match. I enjoyed this tremendously.
Yeah, 3 for me as well. It was fun. It was aggressive. The back and forth was really good. I like too Flair like poking the ref in the eye in the figure 4 before that interference. And Hennig was good here. Like he wasn't too involved to the ending. It kept him tight. He wasn't talking or rambling. And he didn't have to wrestle a long match. Like it was a good use of him here. So I went 3 stars. It was definitely a fun match, and it's a big episode, so it's not even like the main event. Like on most Nitros, this is closing the show.
Yeah. Now we get a Lucha Showcase here, as it's the Viado 4 and 5 versus Hector Garza and Lismark Jr. Today lets us all know that all 4 are second generation wrestlers. He gives a history of the Viados. Bobby has a funny line that says, we give kids in our country names, not numbers, which is funny there. This match to me, I think we've seen this kind of slowly but surely, but Hector Garza is getting more comfortable. And here he was pretty crisp here. He does the jump up head scissors that looks impressive. Big dive sequence on the outside of the course culminates in the corkscrew plancha, but this one looks good. He lands it flush. So overall, this is a really fun match. It's given a lot of time, 7 minutes. The Yados have some good double team moves. They do a sequence on the outside, sending Garza into the post, which looks nasty. Then the finish come where Lismark does a backbreaker. It looks like he has the Viados, down for the count, but they pull the switcheroo, and then the other Viado is able to pin Lismark when he turns around. So I went 3 stars here. This is a perfectly fun TV lucha match that you just were not getting on Raw at the same amount of time. So this is, again, the type of match you cannot get on the other channel that you are getting on Nitro that's entertaining. So 3 stars for me.
Yeah, I agree. I went 3 stars as well. This was the ultimate, like, all right, how much time do we need for the main event? Okay, we got 9 minutes. Like, get out there and fill it. A lot of Sting talk throughout the match. And by the way, in the last match, Tony again mentioned the fucking adult-oriented pay-per-views. So it's been like 3 or 4 times he's brought that up. Yeah, this is good. I mean, the crowd was a little checked out because they're just waiting for the main event. This one actually would have been better served early, open the night, because I think it really would have popped even more if the crowd was like really awake and engaged for it. But it was really good. The pace, the cadence was good. It was a nice showcase. Probably some of the best guards has looked, honestly, in any of his stuff in either promotion. So it's fine. I think it's deserved more love. That's all.
So JJ's out next. Gene hypes up how people, from the airport. This is like a Bobby Heenan moment where the airport and everybody's talking about Sting here. JJ lets us know that the whole situation with the NWO has been a real mess, and that there were people in WCW that questioned Sting, and that created a tremendous amount of distrust. But he says we've seen in the last months that Sting is subtly behind WCW. Problem is, it's been a year. We haven't really talked to them. He's, exhausted all his resources and tried to talk to Sting. But one thing's for sure, WCW desperately needs Sting in the ring. He's tried all the means to communicate him, but, he's kind of left standing in the ring pleading for Sting to be there. Gene flat out says that he doesn't think Sting is there. So there you go. Gene making the proclamation right there. JJ said, he heard from sources he was there, but, he got there early. He didn't see him there when the building was unlocked and all this, but he wants to get this done. Then we see Sting rappelling down from the roof. An incredible moment, a great like camera angle there, seeing Sting come down. Sting gets in the ring. JJ says we're past the point of apology. A lot of that happened when he wasn't there, but that's in the past, and he can't undo what's already been done. He will only try to rebuild the trust that once existed between Sting and WCW. And that's when he presents him with a contract that says he has a match signed for Sting against Kurt Hennig. The crowd's actually into this. They're popping pretty good for that. I thought an interesting choice, I think, is the name here. So Sting takes the contract, rips it up, and walks away. As he goes through the ring, JJ kind of follows at him, and Sting gives him a look and kind of bucks at him a little bit. And Gene's just in shock and all this as we end the segment. So I I think in rewatching this stuff, this is one of the sequences, this up into the match with Hogan at Starrcade, that I'm most interested in rewatching, because I again with like the cage stuff, like we're in August, that happens in December, so we got a long way to go.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see how they fill the time. And I remember being very frustrated with how that happens. But I'll say, as a first step, I liked how this was presented, and as of this week, I like the way it was presented with Kurt Hennig, where I think that's a big enough name that it makes
He's a free
sense,
agent who would,
yeah, he's a
theoretically
free,
be available for the match.
right? Like, we're not signing him versus Jeff Jarrett, somebody
Right.
like that. Like, that could have been a main event. That could have been like a special attraction, pretty big match on like a World War III or whatever to help co-headline that show. So I like that, or even as the last clash. Like, you could have said, like, at the
Right.
Clash of the Champions, Sting is back versus Kurt Hennig. That could have made it into Clash easy. Um, so I like the segment a lot for this week only. Again, I'm ready to see how it
Yeah.
progresses. And Sting tore the contract, so that should have been a little bit of a hit for JJ going forward. But for
It
1
makes
week,
Bill look like a bit of a dunce. So he's like, I'm gonna figure out what he wants. And like, what do you think he wants? So like,
yeah, that's true.
it makes him like that part of it. Like, it would have been better if he said, and he continues this trend of like, what does he want, everyone? Like, it would have
Yeah,
been
that's
better.
when it gets real bad with the
Yeah.
because the crowd was into this and actually like cheered when he presented it with the Kurt Hennig.
Right.
I remember the crowd, like, as we get towards the NWO people, and it's like, Scott Hall or whomever, Buff Backwell. I can't remember like the most ridiculous name he gives, lower level name. But when the crowd starts chanting like Hogan, and JJ's like, oh, that's when I really check out here. That he
Right.
looks
Because what they could have done too is had like, they could have had Dylan say, look, I'm not an idiot. I know what he wants. It's just really hard to get that. So I'm trying to meet him in the middle with something else. Like, that would have at least made him not look like a fucking moron. If he just would have been like, I'm trying to get him we know what he really wants, but Sting, I need you to meet me halfway. These are great options, and we'll get to that eventually, but get back and fight these guys first, Like, at least that would have been something versus like, oh, he wants Hogan? Like what? Who would have thought that? It makes it look a little silly. But the overall concept is good. And the more I think about it, and the way they used to present Halloween Havoc is such a big deal, I'm surprised they didn't just try and do it there. And like, because that wouldn't have been as far off. The match they do there sucks. And like, that would, like, Havoc is like a top 2 or 3 show for them. You could argue it's been bigger than Starrcade the last 3 years. Like, 94, they had Hogan Flair, 95 is whatever, but everything was weird. 95, 96, they do Hogan Savage was a big deal. So they could have done it at Havoc in Vegas. Like, that would have been a pretty big spot to have the big showdown.
Yeah. I don't think that would have been,
or like we've talked about,
bad spot either.
Just let Luger get this, and then Sting ends the NWO. Like, that was the other option, right? Like, let Luger keep the belt.
So that's time for a big main event. Nitro Girls number 6. That is the counter. So 6 appearances for them on the supersized edition. Buffer, of course, has the introductions for Hogan and Luger. Then, it sometimes gets talked about people having like a jobber face when they come out. I think Hogan is interesting in that he has the opposite, where if he's like on top for the match and actually has his like working boots on, he usually loses, which is pretty funny. Because he's on top for a lot of this match. Filling out process, Hogan shoved back Luger. We get some Hogan sucks chants. He pounds Luger down with punches and boots. Bobby, I think, does a great job on commentary talking about how powerful Hogan's shots are and that he's been on the receiving end of those. Hogan does an elbow like on the floor down to Luger's throat. He's beating up Lex pretty good. Clothesline in the corner. Bobby again says like Hogan was the originator of that. Luger's back up, and Hogan cheats by utilizing Randy Anderson to act as a shield here. Bobby, I thought this may be some of the best heated on WCW commentary we get here, because Bobby again talks about how Hogan's a veteran. He's using a bunch of cagey tactics as they go to break. Back for break, Luger's in a bear hug. Luger breaks out of that, but Hogan does a running headbutt, which I can't remember him ever doing. Does a suplex, And they talked about throughout the match on commentary that Hogan hasn't went for a pin. He's just been punishing Luger, punishing Luger. He goes for a pin after that suplex, gets a 2 count. Hogan gets a back suplex, which Luger has to break with his foot on the ropes. Hogan's doing some trash talking. That's where he does that Montreal line that I didn't understand at the beginning. So some clarity on that. Hits a big chop that you can see the sweat flying off of. Hits his big boot. That gets 2. Then he does a leg drop, which also gets 2. Bobby puts that over huge, talks about how that's won a bunch of titles and like that's the biggest thing in wrestling. And again, it's to me, it's interesting when the crowd like does not like they're hot for that, but they're not react like I don't understand why kicking out of Hogan's leg drop does not get the reaction you would think it would.
It's not like a lot of people have been doing it. It's
That's
still
what I'm
really
saying,
effective.
especially this non-finisher spamming era. Like
Right.
there's not many people that have kicked out of that, but Giant, Luger, it's just nothing here. So then Luger starts his comeback here. Hall comes in, Nash comes in, Macho's on the top rope. He gets caught. So what I liked about all this is we do get some NWO interference here. But I like that Luger kind of cut them off at the pass to where, like, yes, technically, I guess, like, Randy Anderson had to make a judgment call not to call a DQ, but, like, Luger prevented them from, like, outright, like, interfering in the match. Like, he cut them off to prevent that. So that was cool. Luger gets the forearm smash. He sends Savage to the floor. He goes for the rack. And by this point, like, the crowd, I'd say, has been good, but they're like bolted when he goes for the rack. So, like, I don't know. This is kind of one of those unfortunate moments, and I think this may be our shift in time where we're looking for when main events really shifted to interference or something big happening. Because once Nash and Hogan, or once Hall, Nash, and Savage come in, that's when you really start to see the crowd get
Right.
into
Wake
that
up.
nuclear, level. But as we know, I mean, I'm sure everybody that's listening to this has watched the match, but an all-time moment as he goes for the rack with the crowd exploding, gets him in the rack, and then Randy Anderson does that great call disbelief where Hogan submits and then calls for the bell. Um, so Luger's your champion. Huge celebration here, which I love. So you get basically the entire locker room empty in and out, including heels like Alex Wright. You get referees, which I like. That was a nice little touch. Stevie Richards is out there, which I noticed him, which is funny. But just I thought a great celebration. And then you get something that WCW did a good bit. WWF really doesn't do this very much, but kind of like with Flair versus Vader at Starrcade '93, you get kind of the post-mortem of the match where as Luger's headed to the back, Tony's able to, pontificate about how, like, with Flair at 83 and Sting at 90, some of these monumental title changes, how, this is a moment that lives up with those. And then we get to see the great kind of backstage celebration with the champagne flowing, uh, Giants using the paint thinner to wipe off the NWO off
Yeah,
the
that was
belt.
cool.
So
Yeah. It
great,
was cool to
great
have him do
celebration.
it.
And then this is also a parallel Starrcade '93 where, like, they show Vader destroying the locker room. You see the flip side of that with the NWO, and Hogan's just a maniac here, flipping tables. I don't know who this poor cameraman was, but like, hopefully Hogan don't like that guy that sued John Moxley or whatever for going after him. Like, if he didn't know Hogan was like gonna grab him and take him to the ground here, because Hogan goes after this cameraman.
Yeah.
And then the announcers finally ended out, send us off. So a big monumental moment. I mean, this is like this is a seminal show for them, and it delivered. Like, this is one of the, I would say, top 5 biggest moments in Nitro history. Still lives up to me as that. I like the match a lot, honestly. Like, I like Hogan, the way he works the match. He's just such a complete prick. Match doesn't overstay its welcome. I think Hogan adds some, like, again, he has his working boots on. He does a back suplex. He does a regular suplex. He does a running headbutt. Has good stiff strikes. Like, this is not lazy Hogan in the ring at all. So I love this from a package standpoint. Like, to me, this is
the total
honestly,
package, I say.
yeah, total package. This is a total package. I mean, this is close to me as like a 5-star moment for me. So from a rating wise, it puts me in a little bit of a bind. It's kind of one of those, I think, like, honestly, like Ultimate Warrior, SummerSlam '88, or like Hogan versus Andre, like those type of ratings where it's tough to get. A rating doesn't really feel right or fair for me. I landed at 3.5, but I do think like this is an all time moment. I don't know. And in the moment, it felt big too. I think that can't be understated because, like, you think of some of the other like huge Nitro moments, and I don't know. Besides Goldberg beating Hogan coming up, and and Hall appearing, but like Hall appearing, we talked about that. Like that show was not as good as Raw. Like that was a weird, like, oh, what's he doing here? But like as of that time, you didn't understand the grand scope of what that was leading to, right? Like you didn't know, like that sets off what happens, but you didn't realize the gravity of that moment at that time. I think here, like the moment it's been leading to this, it's such a good justification, and somebody that's a Luger fan, and even watching back, like it felt good watching this match again, watching him have his moment, and the way it was presented. So I love it.
All right. So yes, all that. I think it's awesome. Luger moment. I think he deserved it. I think Hogan getting the immediate rematch 6 days later takes a little of the piss out of the flip out after, because it's like, all right, well, you got another match coming. I don't like. I think the moment has that epic feel and vibe, but the match to me does not. It was short on a night where we had 3 hours to fucking fill. Like, and I get it's Hogan and Luger, but it felt like really crammed at the end. The NWO show up, not the whole crew, which we know some of them is in Japan, but still. And this has been like one of my biggest problems with this angle at times. Why is nobody from WCW out here? Like, NWO's out there. You know they're going to show up. This is your big moment to finally get the belt off of Hogan. We're supposed to be united. I don't need everybody, but where's the Steiners? Where's Giant standing at ringside to run them off? Instead of the NWO getting in the ring, Steiners and Giant should have showed up and blocked the aisle, and Luger gives them the thumbs up or something. Like, why aren't they there? It's been a trope of WCW lately when these big moments hit, whether it's on pay-per-view or here, acts differently than all the other weekly stuff. And it's bothered me a little bit, and like it continued here. And it's just a disconnect. Like, all we talked about is how this is our chance to get even with the NWO. We got to take them out. We got to band together. We got to bond. And Giant's not even out there. Like, where the fuck is he until the end? Like, he's the guy that should be out there, if no one else, with Luger standing tall. Why is no one out there till the celebration when 4 NWO guys are in the ring and making Luger fight them all off on his own? Also, the announcers, to me, I love Bobby on the night, and in this match, he's good. But I thought they did not go all out at all. Like, this is a year and a half of angst and hype over the world title. And on the leg drop kick out, Bobby is like just talking about what it means. They're not even losing their shit. It was they were talking like they knew what was going to happen. Like, Tony should have been like losing his fucking mind at him kick. Like, he went crazier when Hogan hits the big boot on Flair in '94. Like, this to me, like, he should have been losing his mind. Like, he kicked out of the fucking leg drop. Here we go. And it's just like they barely even mention it. And again, the crowd was fine, but it wasn't until the end where they really go off. And it just felt like they had 3 hours to tell this story. And they waited until the end of the night when the crowd is tired, everyone's kind of worn out, for the big moment. So I think it's still a great moment, and it's a really good Nitro, and it's a good go home for Road Wild. But I just felt like, man, like little things to me just got in the way of this. The 3 hour Nitro makes it seem like a big deal, but I actually think it was counterproductive for the show because I think it tired the crowd out. And then this felt rushed at the end. When if they just did a standard 2 hour Nitro with a little run over, go 15 minutes over into the that extra hour Raw, which I don't know if this is why they did the 3 hours. Probably right to screw up Raw on their first night at 9 to 11, most likely. I think it actually would have been better. Like, I think the 3 hours hurts it, or put it in the middle and then spend a couple hours breaking it down later and close with DDP Flair. I think the crowd might have been more into it too.
You can't put that in the middle.
No, I know, but I'm just like, to me, the crowd's tired by the end, and we saw it in the Lucha match. And most of
I don't know if I agree with that.
Not until the end. Not until the end. Whether maybe it's because they were worried that Hogan is going to win, or there'd be a fuck finish. But to me, they don't really wake up until the rack. And to me, my biggest bitch is with the announcers. Like, I think Tony, who I love, I'm like the biggest Tony
Tony's
guy.
more subdued than you would think.
He's like a top 3 guy for me, and here he's like asleep at the wheel. Like, what are you doing? This is supposed to be one of the biggest. This is the biggest moment of the war so far in this storyline. You know,
Tony's interesting in this match. I mean, today I think it's easy to oversell. So I was actually glad that he shut up for most of this match. And I think this is an interesting spot because, like, today does not do the pay-per-views. Like, besides when he comes in for, like, the Lucha matches. So this is easily the biggest match, like, today's been on. So it's probably good that he laid out. Tony is a little more subdued than you think till the very end. I don't know. I mean, I do think, like, obviously, like, there's a little filler here, but I think, like, the 3-hour Nitro in this case, like, worked as a good flex because you can really see, like, I
think the concept worked. Yeah, I
just think width of the roster. I mean, Detroit overall, I mean, that again goes to maybe, like, Detroit wasn't the best location.
Well, they were banking on, like, the Luger hometown.
Maybe, I don't know, like, do it in Chicago then or something where I don't. I mean, that's kind of a booking thing, but I mean, this really should have been in the Omni, to be honest.
Right. I think what hurts it too is knowing the match and, like, you know, fans aren't idiots. Like, it was pretty obvious Hogan was going to win it back in 6 days. Luger's not beating him twice. I think that took a little piss out of it too. Like, knowing they were having that match at Road Wild, like, it was kind of like, all right, he's definitely going to win it back. Like, so again, it's a great moment. Like, I think they stuck it. I'm nitpicking, but that's what we're doing on the show, is nitpicking some of this stuff. And it's just been a running theme for me that in the big moments, they are acting different than, and ECW's been doing it too, where we are in a 3-way dance. Like, you have all this build and story, and then we get to the big moment, and it's different than what the whole story's been. Like, where's the WCW guys? Tony all night is talking about this is a death blow for the NWO, and then he's asleep during the match. So it's like, I don't know. It just felt very different.
And I should have probably read the Observer. I don't know who's actually the person, like, booking since Sullivan's gone. I will say, like, JCP and WCW and, like, that lineage with face booking is they never have any help from their guys. Right. Maybe to the detriment, but, you know, from when the Four Horsemen, from when the Andersons, you know, back in the whole day, like, that was the reason, like, that the final conflict had to be in the cage just to, like, make it fair, right? Because, like, it's just like, we're gonna put it in a cage.
But this whole story has been side versus side. Like, this is
the
whole story, especially Giant. To me, it's inexcusable for Giant and Steiners not to be there.
It wouldn't have taken much for, like, a line or two to say, like, that. And Ryan Everett says Taylor. If it is Terry Taylor that's running most of that, I mean, he's from that school of thought, so that kind of, to me, does
they
play
don't need to be out there brawling, but the NWO should have came out and the Steiners and Giant emerged from the crowd and blocked the path, because that ties all the Road Wild feuds in too. Steiners and Outsiders, Giant and Savage, they block the road, they can't get through, and Luger wins clean. Like, it doesn't make sense to me that Giant's not helping him. The whole story all year since Giant defected in January has been accepting him back. He wants Luger to get his big moment. Luger got the title shot because Giant helped him win it at Spring Stampede. Like, he should at least be out there if nobody else. Like, even if you don't want to do the Steiners, fine. But I would have had Steiners, DiBiase, and Giant out there, and I think it would have made it feel more grand. Like, this is the ultimate war for the two sides. Like, why aren't they backing the guy? If this is the story that they need this win to tip the scales, it's just a disconnect from what they've been telling as a story the whole time. So I went 2.5 on the match. The moment's great. Like, I enjoyed it. I just think a couple of things could have made it even more grand. And I do think, looking back, I wonder if Hogan and Luger should not have been announced for Road Wild yet, because they're going to sell that crowd no matter what. Like, that's not a draw.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't
drawing
think
anyone there.
But you
So
can't
then
have
after
a
he
pay-per-view
wins,
without a main event, though.
Savage Giants would event, or Steiners outside, whatever the fuck,
Or
or Hogan do a fake
do
match.
that.
You can say
You
Hogan
can't
versus
do
someone
that.
else. Hogan is going to fight someone, and
Yeah.
then you change it to Luger after that. You know, like it just takes a little sting out of the moment, because it's like, it's so obvious Hogan's going to win it back in 6 days. Like, you know, even as a kid, I was like, of course he's going to fucking win it back.
I guess. I mean, I'm a little bit younger, so I was a little naive. But
there was no way Luger was beating him twice. It was impossible. It was like super obvious.
I mean, that's kind of booking for.
You could have even said Hogan Giant.
That's projection, though. Like, I mean,
no, it was obvious. You could have even said Hogan.
You don't know on this show, though. Like, I wouldn't have thought it'd been obvious. Luger would have won here. Like,
no, but as soon as he wins, you just know it's the old.
Maybe, but I mean, why not let him win? But
he's not winning twice.
And I'm obviously that's it now. Like,
no, even then, I'm telling you, then I knew it was obvious.
I would say it's more likely than not, but again, like, I don't know. I think it's. I'm not gonna punish this because of what we think. Like, now,
what if the main event for Road Wild was a tag originally? Hogan and Savage against Luger and Giant, and that was the announced main event.
That could have been.
And then they change it, and then they say, well, now that Hogan's gonna enact his rematch clause, and now we're getting Hogan Luger at Road Wild. You could even do it that night, like Hogan comes out to start the show at Bischoff, and like the tag match is off. We're enacting our match tonight. Hogan Luger's tonight, the main event. Savage Giant, they're going to fight in the undercard. Like, that could have worked. You know, again, it's a small thing, but it would have made it a little less obvious, you know, because now you're thinking Luger's going to keep it because he's got a tag match on Saturday, you know, going into the show.
Right.
And it also would have made this more believable. Like, why is he getting a title shot 6 days before a title shot? like again, it would have helped that explanation as well, you know?
Yeah.
Anyway, is what it is. It's still great. I'm just nitpicking it, but I don't mean to break your heart. All right, match of the night for me was. I'm not giving it to. I'm going Paige Flair for the match. I liked it the best.
That's ridiculous. Yeah, I mean, it's Luger Hogan.
I went Luger winning the title. Obviously, is the moment, and Luger is the MVP.
Yeah.
Shots fired was Tony saying this is the hour that chased away the competition.
Yeah. Also had the Raw side get ripped up.
Oh yeah, ripped Raw side. Debuts. We had Lenny Lane, Joey Maggs. Have we seen it?
We'd seen Lenny Lane before, but the other.
You sure? I thought I looked and I didn't see him.
Yeah, he was under a different gimmick. But
all right, but not as Lenny Lane. We hadn't seen Joey Maggs, all right?
Nope.
All right, and Scott D'Amore. Road reports in Denver. So I went 8.5 out of 10 for the grade. I mean, I think it's probably one of my highest nitros, I would assume, looking back. A great show. Like, I don't want this to be taken as like I'm ripping the show. I just think there's tweaks they could have made to make the whole thing hit even more. But it's still a super memorable moment. I mean, when you think of Nitro era, you think of this, and Randy Anderson jumping up and down, and Luger celebrating with everyone. This is like, if I'm watching a comp and I see that, it's different than what we're doing now, right? We're watching the week to week, and in the week to week, it felt like a letdown to me.
Yeah, I mean, 9 out of 10 for me. It's going to be one of my highest ranked shows, I think, of doing this podcast. So,
let's see, we're not
TV wise.
On the 100-point scale, we're close. All right, let's get our combo awards, and then we'll wrap. So,
well, I mean, I'm on
Nitro, obviously the better show.
Yeah, I'm gonna push hard.
That's fine. Luger Hogan is the match of the night.
Yeah, I think you could do a clean sweep. I mean, like, I think the
best moment, Luger winning.
Yeah, I mean, like, it's a tough draw for Shawn, but he'll have stuff.
Oh yeah, he's got plenty coming. Yeah, he's got plenty coming. Nitro, better commentary, obviously. Luger, star.
They're the ratings. The ratings are a big story, actually. So, like, you know, they hyped it, they delivered. Where we talked about Nitro's been in like this 3-4, 3-3, 3-5 situation. Well, they drew a 4-4 for this show, which is by far the biggest rating they've ever had running against another show. And actually coming off of SummerSlam, like Raw's not down a lot. They were 2-9 last week, but they are down, which coming off of SummerSlam had to be seen as a little disappointment. They're down to 2-7. So 2-7 versus 4-4 is the ratings discrepancy.
It's like a new audience came in for WCW because that's not a huge drop. That's not an equal drop. You know what I'm saying? Like it didn't shift those people.
Yeah, it feels like people tuned in, which I think, like, I don't know. It's weird. I kind of wanted to get, I don't know. Do we want to piss off Aaron since you ran it on this moment? I want to get my, like, Hulk Hogan's better than Bret Hart 97 rant? Because I think, ratings wise, you can see, when he, it's like I hate to break it to it, but when he's on these shows and he's wrestling, like it does matter. It still matters.
Well, it's interesting too because he was like shit on still on the internet at this point. Like he was winning worst
Yeah,
wrestler
bad.
awards.
Like even we talked about it with the Observer. Like the Observer's been way higher on the stuff than, this to me in retrospect is looking better. Like especially in ring, because like he's working the matches that I think you would like if he's like a a scumbag heel. He's working the matches exactly like you would want him to.
Right.
Like I don't know what you want him to do. Like he worked this match better than Owen and New Love worked their match on Raw.
Right.
And that's just a reality. Like I don't know. Like
well,
you
watch
watch
these
these
like
two
the
matches.
biggest star in the business. I mean, obviously.
I
would expect him to be better than them. Yeah.
Right. But it's just like, it did. And we talked about that with Brett with his TV matches. Like you're not getting that same stuff. But all right. So that
Everett
gives our final tally. What 73 Nitros to 20 Raw. So
73. Yep.
Yeah.
Everett confirms Terry Taylor took over for Sullivan. So there you go.
Yeah.
All right, that'll do it for us. Long episode, which you knew it would be, but that's okay. It's a big one. We'll be back in 2 weeks with Road Wild. So we'll see how this all plays out. I feel like my stance is going to be validated.
Do you want to do that podcast?
I'm ready for it.
It was obvious what was going to happen.
Oh, it's obvious. My stance will be validated in 2 weeks.
I don't think you're out of touch, but I think like with the way we do things, like we're not projecting what. I mean, obviously we can bring some of that in, but like I don't know.
I'm just telling you what I experienced at the time.
Okay.
I know.
11-year-old Chad was
throwing the
running around
the Brett's eyes.
Yeah,
and I remember I was fighting with my college now. I do remember thinking it's obvious that Hogan was going to win. It was not in any way. It's like you said, you knew they were headed towards Sting and Hogan. Like it was just he wasn't going to beat him twice. He just wasn't. It was a big thing that Hogan even lost this match. When's the last time he lost a match? I guess Piper at Starrcade. Is that his only WCW loss? Like before that, like I don't know if he lost anything else before that besides like that Flair count out or whatever. So I mean, he's not losing twice in 6 days after losing twice in 3 years. It's just not happening, Yeah, type away. Look at your cage match, whatever. Adult themes left and right. 2 weeks, Road Wild. We'll be back. Thank you for checking out everything here. Want to shout out our patrons that watched live. We had quite a few in tonight for this one. Grooney, Ish, Marty Sleaze, Everett, Ed, Jenny all hung out with us for the night. I want to thank you all for contributing and watching along and being part of the show. What do you got? What's your big news?
Me?
You were typing away, so I don't know if you were like digging up some.
No, I was closing
receipts anywhere. Okay.
Nah, my screen jumped.
Oh, your screen. Damn. Okay. All right. We'll be back. Smell the napalm. Talk to you in a couple weeks. Stay adult. Bye.